Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Jeremy, go by just Jeremy on Discord.
And this is Aaron, I go by Blood Bowl for Life on Discord.
Son of a bitch!
What? He changed it. I didn't see that.
Everything can be changed today.
Anything could be anything.
Anything. It could be a boat.
Cats could be dogs. Water could be dry. Anything's fine.
So anyway, quick announcements. Parker, you're down to 2,597 episodes. Good job.
Whew.
I saved that for this night.
Whew.
I wanted to have it for right now.
2,597?
Yep, that was it.
Excellent.
For right now.
Good job.
Yeah. So just scanning through some stuff here, I see here that you have a bet that there'll be less than 4 Wakandan leaders by the end of 23.
And I stand by that bet.
Okay.
I was quite confident that would be a ridiculous idea to imagine that happens, because there was only three Wakandan models coming out in 2023. So surely not all 3 of them would have a printed leadership on them. That would be a very, 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 very unlikely thing to happen.
Well, every box set that had a Wakandan model in it had a leadership.
Parker,
every box that had a Wakandan model in it had 2 models, and both of them had leaderships.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Every model that was released with a Wakandan model this year had a leadership.
Yeah.
Parker, did you confirm that the Rivals panel is being released in 2023?
Where could that be? From Asmodee? Would that be where I'd find that?
I'm just before you give up the goose. On
we're not adding it yet. I'm just saying that
Okay.
he has the bet.
Yeah,
Ooh, you can make a bet on if it's released in 2023.
Did you see that new Shocker model?
Oh, by the way, I looked at that new Shocker model. I'm feeling good. No shocking going on.
Oh, you're feeling wow. Okay, so
No gone.
when I look at things that you have done and I go, wow, Parker's made a lot of mistakes, you say, look at my great deeds.
Look at my good deed. I lay them before you.
I feel like we can just go ahead and add the 200 episodes to your total for the Shocker bet right now.
I think it's good.
Like that's 1,000,000% going to deal shock.
I love how sure I was of that bet. That's all I love about it.
I can't wait till he comes out and his name is Quilt Man. And you're like, thank God, I'm going to get out of this one.
Yeah. He gives out the condition quilt.
Yeah.
New condition only.
Quilted.
Quilted.
All right. So moving into the next part here, most people are going to be quite aware by now. We released this late this week so that we would have time to watch the mini extravaganza streams and give you our thoughts and analysis callbacks on what has come out here. So there's going to be a lot of information. I'm putting a link to the cards that we're going to cover in the show notes, and so if you want to take a moment and open that up while you're listening, or just kind of skim through it at your leisure. Obviously, if you're driving, don't open it, and we will go through and give you our thoughts on the changes. So we're going to start with
News.
Hey,
News.
So I am so pleased that we did this, that we waited for this news. This is such an awesome set of news. Let's get to it. So, mini extravaganza happened. You should know, dear listeners, that we're really excited to talk about all the new models, tactics cards, terrain stuff, the game modes that were previewed that are coming out in the spring, or maybe here at the end of the year, depending upon how much they love me to keep my probationary episodes. However, we are actually going to table the new models and tactics, terrain cards, and game modes that aren't coming out for the foreseeable future, and we're going to wait and do that in a different episode. So if you're really excited to hear our thoughts on those, we're going to do that later. So that news will be partitioned off for another cast. Instead,
unless We have free time.
Unless we have time. Yeah.
Unless we go short, then we'll do it right now.
Yeah, but I doubt
that's going to happen.
I doubt that's going to happen. Because then we get to start immediately with the character reworks. A lot of characters got new reworked cards, and we're excited to talk about them. I am not going to read every single new card, although they got all the pretty new art. They got the new colors, the new alignment. So they're very pretty if you haven't seen them. However, we're going to focus primarily on the differences between the old characters as they used to be and the new characters as they are now. And we're going to go just in alphabetical order, and you might have to bounce around a little bit on the doc, but...
Yeah, just to be clear, we're going to go in document order.
Oh, yeah, without which is also alphabetical, yeah? I think it is.
It should be alphabetical,
They're
but
both
we're going document by document.
So,
right, here we go.
Can we talk for 3.8 seconds, and by seconds I mean minutes, about the actual stream before we talk about the specific changes?
Oh, sure.
Good. So I want to throw both kudos and shade to AMG for pissing the ever-loving fuck out of me. For people who weren't watching the stream, they spent the first 15 minutes talking about how they fucking hate doing errata changes. And you could just hear the but in the background. But we're going to do one.
Whoa. I was standing alone on that hill for a while. I
I
was like, guys, don't worry, the erratas are coming. He's like, all they've done for 10 minutes is say how they hate erratas. He's like, don't worry, guys, the erratas are coming.
There are 2 points in this stream. I'll talk about one of them later when we get to the character it pertains to. But the thing that super pissed me off, and they did this on purpose, was they went through and they said, I think it was Schick, in alphabetical order. We're doing this in alphabetical order, everyone. And they went fucking Cable, Colossus, Cyclops, Storm, and Wolverine. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They just revealed about 1,000 new characters for X-Men and then buffed the entire affiliation and we're done. And then they started over again with the non-mutants.
I was not at all upset or tricked by that.
I was. They got me.
Were you really panicking, just sitting in your chair, just spinning? Like, why?
I was driving at the time, just listening to it. So I couldn't see any of the cards that they were talking about. But yeah, because they specifically said they're going alphabetical order, and they just went, A through Z, and I was like, fucking A, is that it?
So
yeah,
I want to say something about that same point as well. I don't care about anything Aaron just said, honestly. I thought that was all fine. But I feel like the reason everyone's freaking out over the fact that they keep publicly saying they're super anti-errata, and I think the problem is they set an unintended precedent in their first dynamic update when they did all those character adjustments. And now people expect it. And now that they expect it, all they do is whenever they run into a problem, they just mass panic and post online. And it's not good for the health of the community. So I think they're trying to convince people to not just wish post online about what they want to see adjusted, or when their things don't get adjusted that they feel were problems, that they're just going to go online and be toxic about it. So I just think that they're trying to show people that they're not responding to the internet. They're responding to what they believe is constructive feedback and or evidence that they see through gameplay. And so just because you might feel a model's out of the meta curve or like the balance curve, you should not just spam post nerf X. Like, that's not going to help. It's just going to get them to ignore you. So if you do have an issue with a model, there are ways to give constructive feedback directly to the company or in other ways. So I think that's just what they're trying to retrain the way that they get feedback, because it was coming at them in mass amounts in ways that they don't seem as constructive. So
yeah,
I think they're trying to make people understand that.
I support that prerogative of, and again, it was War Machine CID that fucked this for everyone. People just complained until shit got changed. And it was not healthy. I think AMG takes it too far, but I fully agree with the premise behind it of we will touch people when we want to touch people. Stop fucking talking about it and fix it yourself. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that give a mouse a cookie thing. Like, if we bend to the screaming crazy people, then they're just going to be more screaming and more crazy. And so, we can't do that. So that's why we get this 10-minute long explanation before they do anything.
You can't make a game, by 2,000 person committee.
Yeah,
like, you can't do
exactly.
that. That's not something you can do. You shouldn't be reasonably expected to do that. And yet, people want that, right? People are like, well, but my voice is more important than anybody's voice, so listen to it, and because I had this experience in the game, you need to know it's real and true, or no. I appreciated the moment when they were able to say, every time they preclude something with, just so you know, we don't have to listen to anything you say in some version of that. I'm perfectly fine with them saying that. I'm like, yes, that makes sense. This is your game. You get to decide everything, and I get to decide if I want to play it. So
we've got plenty of evidence of, trying to listen to the internet and actually having it ruin the whole thing. Like Star Wars Episode 9, for example.
Yeah.
It's like they just tried to give people what they wanted and they hated it.
What did Kurt Vonnegut say? You open up your window to the world, you get a cold, right? If you ask for other people's opinions, it will ruin the thing that you made. So,
Jeremy, did you have any thoughts?
Not really. You guys said pretty much everything. I did fall for the trap, the X-Men trap. I was certainly listening for the key letters.
Yeah.
One was a D and one was a B, and one was a Dormammu, which I'm like, what the fuck on that one still, but whatevs. Yeah,
as far as like, subpar models getting buffed, I think that's a pipe dream. Then you just got to get lucky that someone in the development studio likes the model that you like.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Now, that being said, I don't think you should lose all hope. But, I mean, so for a perfect example, if you asked which of the Peter Parkers I thought was going to get adjusted, I would have said Peter 1. But clearly I was wrong. And because someone disagrees with me, but in the same vein, I can understand why they're making choices they're making. Like, you can't just adjust everything all at once. It's too much, and it's not... Like, even if you went through and adjusted everything up to what you consider to be, like, the baseline of the bell curve, like, that doesn't make them get played. Like, they still play the other stuff.
Isn't it interesting that... I mean, on a side tangent, not talking about Amazing Spider-Man getting his buff, but... the fact that Amazing Spider-Man got a buff because of the way they want to see him getting played. Mm-hmm. Because people play him, obviously, but not for the correct reasons.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that's very interesting.
Because they fix models that they see that aren't fitting into their intended design space.
Which is cool.
So just because,
that.
Like they've admitted that Crossbones was a failure. But at the same time, maybe their intended design space was he's a fuckhead that nobody really wants to play with, but he does perform a job. It's just that job is not highly desired. And so, like, probably the same thing with Viper, I would guess. Like, she's not really intended to be a standout model. She's kind of a throw-in. Like, she's just kind of background noise for the rest of the game. Like, I don't think they want her to be a super prevalent model. But if she fits what you need, she's a decent option.
Oh, hold on. Could you say that again, please?
If Viper fits what you need, she's a decent option.
Okay.
As long as you need a bad three-pointer, she's very good at that.
You need a bad three-pointer.
Okay.
A bad three-pointer that's affiliated with Hydra. Boom, we covered all of our bases. We could also take Crossbones. Okay. So moving into it, I have something I really, really want to say about this first model, but so, Parker, what is our first model, and what has changed?
Okay, our very first model is the Amazing Spider-Man. We just mentioned him. Two things have changed. First off, his spindle, whatever a spider can, went from 5 power down to 4 power. Secondly, his mastered spider sense now has an additional innate ability, which is every time he rolls at least one crit during any dice roll, he gains a power.
Can I go first?
Go for it. You're really excited. You started it with, I really want to say something. Go for it.
Did you guys catch the mistake in the cast?
No, I didn't. What's up?
Will Schick was like,
yes,
I love the way it works now. Because you roll defense, you get the crit, you gain a power, and you immediately use it for witty banter. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
It says so literally on the card. You cannot do that. God damn it, Will.
Yeah.
The restriction is you don't gain the power until after the effect is resolved. In this example, it would have been the attack. So no, you cannot then gain the power and use it for witty banter before the attack is resolved. God damn it!
But if you wanted to spin for witty banter and you have a crit, you get the power back after it's resolved. But you have to start with a power.
Yes. You get the tax refund. I get it.
Yeah,
but that's clearly not what he meant. I love the design team, but come on, guys.
You should play your game more than once a week.
You try playing it. Well, to be fair, the actual playtester guy didn't say that. I think he was like looking at Schick like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to Ben. I'm glad we got to see Ben on the cast. And if he's actually responsible for a lot of these changes, I like Ben. Ben is a good person.
Yeah. Can we send Ben things? Care of Infamous?
Hugs, kisses.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this is going to affect his play?
No. So, I like this change, right? It's hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
ASM was power starved. However,
it's objectively good.
Yes. This does not change the thing that is most wrong with ASM in the list, in that he has 0 displacement. His offense is still relatively meh. So all he's going to do is, pick up an extract and sit somewhere.
Yeah.
And he does that just as good as he used to. Probably a little better because he has a little more power for witty banter.
Good.
I would say this does not make him like the premier 5 threat you're always running. It does make him better in his own affiliation. Like you might play him his leadership I don't know. Like, does the extra power enable him to play his leadership more? I don't know. He has better. It makes me consider putting him in my 10 in webs as opposed to not. But that's kind of where this lands for me. Go ahead.
I think this makes him 5% better, and I think it makes it 100% better for the game, because I think it puts him closer to where he should be. But he is the most expensive model in the affiliation, and he does nothing that the affiliation wants to do other than have a safe extract, which is not saying a lot. He just doesn't do anything the affiliation wants to do other than have spider senses. He needs to hit a lot harder, I think, if he wants to actually be competitive for his point slot. I think if he got the 2 extra dice from web swing. Oh, no, they added that. Did we miss that? Yeah, no. They added the plus 2 dice to spider strike.
He's always had that.
He's always had that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron told me it didn't.
What?
No.
Liar.
No, I think you guys are right. Like, this doesn't, make him a stronger web warrior. I think Amazing Spider-Man is in the space he's always been, which is if you want to play the beat up Spider-Man who bops around the field, doing way more than he should every once in a while because you love that version of him from the comic books. There's a couple moments in the comic book history where he's gone into giant fights full of, incredible sentinels of power and been amazing because he's amazing, right? He's so cool. This is the guy to play because you want to play that. But I think that's why you play Amazing Spider-Man, because you really, really want to play that. You don't play him because you're excited to play Web Warriors, and their best strategy is Amazing Spider-Man.
He's an interesting 5-point model in an affiliation that doesn't necessarily need it. And it's just, as a 5-pointer, usually 5-pointers are pretty obvious what you want to do with them and how you're going to use that 5 points. And his 5 points is kind of odd, because in webs, their points are usually pretty obvious what you're doing with them. And if he doesn't hit his wilds and throw people and all of that business, and maybe he doesn't, actually defend and he gets dazed pretty quick. It's a weird 5 points, right? And does it change it by having a little bit more power and a few more witty banters? I don't know. Probably makes it a little bit more fun though.
I think it's important that he gets the extra power, but yeah, he was so power hungry before that he never got to really do anything else.
Anyway. I love that it also keys on things like when you're paying to flip things, you can get the power back.
Yep.
Which is cool.
Extra power is always good.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to start such an existential conversation when I made my point, but we're going to go a lot faster. We're going to get through all these.
Deal.
So who's next?
The one I want to talk about. Black Bolt.
Oh, God. Fucking of course.
Black Agora Boltagon got a laundry list of things. He really got a lateral change, I think. So he got 1 additional Mystic Defense on both sides of his cards. His healthy side gained a health. His energy bolt, which is his primary, gained a dice. So he's no longer a 5 dice. It's now a 6 dice. The Master Punch cost went down from 5 to 4. We have Focus Power now gives him additional power in the power phase, so now he gains 2 power. Instead, it used to be 2 additional dice when attacking, and now he has the ability to give himself extra defense like he used to. I think it went down in cost though. I think it maybe no, that was always 2 because it was 2 for defense, and 3 for 2 attack. He now has a reactive bodyguard that only costs 1. A king serves his people, so he's the first 1-cost bodyguard ability in the game. And his whisper strength went down in power. It used to be went up in power. It used to be 9. Now it's 10.
I think you also misspoke on his Master Punch. It went from 4 to 3, not from 5 to 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 to 3.
Okay, so thoughts?
As someone who loves Black Bolt, and I wanted to play him because I think he has the best builder in the game, his builder just got better-ish, because he doesn't go up to that 7 with a reroll. He's got 6 with a reroll, which is still great. Like, what an awesome builder for a 5-pointer. But not being 7 means he doesn't hit that. He may not just delete small models with a single attack like you might want him to. This is a first world problems, right? Like, does Black Bolt really delete models with his builder? Probably not, but that's what he could do before. So he could cycle his power into his builder and continue to do really big hits with his builder all game long. And this one doesn't do that. He's much more of a utility piece with more consistent damage that's lower, and he has the ability to support other models in his list. But Inhumans, I don't know if Inhumans needed a protector. They have one now, but I don't know if you want. I don't know if you want Black Bolt to take
in the
damage,
stream, the only reason he has this bodyguard ability is to force your opponent to daze him. They talked about that. It's like they didn't like the ability for you to just ignore Black Bolt, and they felt that by removing his ability to roll 7 dice on his attack, that your opponent might actually decide to just ignore you. So it's kind of like you puts it in there as a safety mechanic, so that way you don't get locked out of using the coolest ability on his card.
Mm-hmm. But I do think the additional power of the power phase is a big deal. In a faction that really, really loves to have a couple extra power floating around for the leadership, if there's any part of his card that's a huge improvement, I think it's actually gaining additional power. And if you have to trade the spending to add builder dice for 1 extra power, I think in this faction you might like 1 extra power more. So this is probably just an increase. I want to say it's a lateral move, but it's probably just an increase, and the main one is that extra power.
I mean, for the love of God, they gave him basically a bump in everything. They took him from, I guess, an equivalent of a 4-point model to a 5. I mean, they did
definitely make him a 5. Yeah, they definitely
gave him everything.
5.
So okay. I don't know what else there's to say.
Are there any other 6 dice builders with Pierce in the game? There's got to be, but I can't think of one.
No builders. There's spenders that are 6 dice Pierce.
Sure.
That's X23s.
Don't recall any. Definitely not like range 4.
No.
Like, you're talking about how they made him a 5, and I think they made him a 5.5. I do not think it is a lateral move. I think it is a straight plus.
So the big deal is obviously that you've lost the ability to chain the attack boost into rolling 7 dice all the time. Like, that's the big loss. But I think that just led to you having spiky games, where if you could just chain roll in hot dice, then he was good. But on the games that you didn't get that perfect 3-power return, he was bad. And so this has really just kind of flattened the curve, and so he's more consistent.
He definitely does something passively just by having 2-power return in Inhumans.
And so the ceiling on damage is a little lower, but in order to get that damage train rolling, unless you were fucking rolling 12 dice every time, or 12 hits rather, like you were lucky to get your 3 back to do it again.
Yeah.
Right? So now he has 1 less die, but gets to keep all the power. Like, how is Black Bolt not going to be fucking flush with power? To either spread it to everyone else using leadership, or what he couldn't do before, spend it on anti-graviton field. Right? So The goal was to get Black Bolt dazed with enough power to be able to, whatever it used to be, focused power, Whisper. But you wanted both of them, right? So you needed 9. Now you're like, I just need 6. Anyway, I really, really, really like all these changes. Extra health, extra defenses, extra dice, saving all the power, and generating more power to begin with. Even though the ceiling is a tad lower, I think this makes the model so much better, even as just a turret. Like, I would rather have this model if I just wanted to do damage.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think the one thing that I 100% agree with Jeremy is he feels like a 5-pointer now, whereas before, when you played him, you felt like you had to polish a turd. Like you had to work to make sure you were getting, use out of an overcosted, strong turret. Now, he definitely is going to do 5 points worth of stuff. Like you're going to get that out of him, which I think is a huge draw for people who have never played him or refused to play him because they thought he was bad. He was excellent before, in my opinion. I think he was an excellent turret, but people didn't want that out of their leader. They weren't excited about it, so people didn't play him. I think now he'll be a lot more appealing for sure.
All right, what's next?
Next up is Black Cat. Black Cat got a couple different things going on.
I really felt she needed some buffs, so this is good.
Yeah. So first off, she now does bleed on her basic attack automatically, which she didn't used to do. Oh, sorry, on dealing damage. So you must deal damage. Her Master Cat Burglar is now also an action. So it costs the same amount, but it's also an action. And Bad Luck now stops defenders adding in crits. Though you still count crits as hits, you do not get to explode your crits with Bad Luck.
Attackers, not defenders.
Yeah.
Now
when defending, the attacker does not explode crits.
When she is defending.
Yeah. She's Domino on defense.
Got it. Domino on defense.
So now she's Domino and Black Cat on defense.
Ooh.
Yeah, we expected the action change. I really don't think she needed the other buffs, but the only thing I'm happy about is that they didn't buff her Troublemaker attack. I think Troublemaker probably should have gone to 3 cost personally, but it's what it is.
I actually really...
Go
ahead.
I don't like that they buffed Bad Luck. I thought they should have removed it from her card entirely. I think she's too strong, even after the buff, the nerf.
I will disagree with you. I think, without having playtested it at all, I think the entirety of these changes are perfect. I think if they had just made it an action, she would have almost never seen play. She would have been a Troublemaker bot, which is not the worst thing in the world, but there's also counterplay to it. And if you have a 3-point model that does nothing but Troublemaker all game long, I don't know. She's always been very squishy, even with Bad Luck. So I really think that she needed granted, hard to say needed the bleed on the cat claws, because it's really
that's pretty irrelevant,
really inconsequential. Unlike they said on the stream, like it synergizes with Blade and Midnight Suns, then great. Yeah. Like it's a minor buff.
I really don't care about the bleed at all. I'm not a fan of the game design aspect of let's take something that is supposed to be like subpar, so we'll make it subpar. We'll give it this extra little thing that ends up making it better than the initial attack. I think a 4-dice pierce attack is better than a 5-dice attack without an ability. Like the average damage dealt, I feel like is higher, but most importantly, the spikes are bigger. Mm-hmm. And especially with her ability to get extra dice in some factions, or just playing with certain models like Mordo and stuff, like it's really annoying that she could just spike people down. But yeah, there's been so many times Black Cat's lived through attacks that she shouldn't have lived to because like you just randomly can't mod.
Well, I think that's about not target selection, but who you go into her with, right?
Sure.
And then obviously throwing shit into her kills her super quick. You're right. Any model can live. I have found that Black Cat dies pretty easily when you want her to. So I really the reason they gave for it with she can just like double move and be standing next to you and be like, okay, up to you. Go into me. Hope you don't fail. Kind of appeals to me as a much more interactive playstyle than the I just steal your shit and run away.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. not being able to double move and steal is absolutely required. Like, she should not be fucking allowed to do that.
Right. I would just be concerned that if that's all they did, then she literally sees no play. And as much as we hated her being such a meta staple, like I agree with what they said. They don't want to take these meta staples and just throw them in the bin. So what do they do? And I would be concerned that she would have just been binned had they made it an action. So
like
I think
Enchantress dealt with that.
There you go. That was exactly what I was going to say. Enchantress.
No, but I mean that's what happens. I mean, we saw what happens when you make it an action.
Mm-hmm. Well, but not only did hers go to an action, there was a 3-point replacement that didn't get nerfed.
I know. I totally know. I understand.
With one change of events, they just took the obvious played model and made another obvious played model, and then nerfed the old one. It is really frustrating for me personally.
I think they did it to you personally.
I think if you delete Bad Luck from this card, she's still played very commonly. Now, she wouldn't be in every fucking list, but I don't think any model should be in every list. Like, if 90% of rosters include a 3-pointer that isn't in their faction, that's a red flag. Like, that means that the game is not in a healthy place.
Why? Of course, that's why she's on our list today, because that's what happened. I don't know. We don't need to bemoan that she was made bad the first time. She obviously was. But I think I agree with Aaron. I like this change. I foresee that she will be looked at now like people look at Enchantress now, which is to say, there's a lot of great things on this card. Do I need these great things? Rather than what she is now, which is, I have a 10th slot in my list, put on Black Cat because there's a chance I might need Black Cat. Now you'll actually have to make a decision. Relevant.
Yeah, I think she's going to be in 50 to 75% of rosters.
And I think
I will bet 5,000 of Parker's episodes you're wrong.
I think that's monstrously wrong. I don't think she will be considered like that. I think as soon as people see this, well, one, it's going to be the nerf revulsion, right? You're going to see people just run away from her because she was nerfed.
The reason I disagree with that point of view, just real quick, is you need this mechanic in your list to be competitive. You have to play extract stealers to play the game right now.
You need effective extract stealers in your list. Is she going to effectively steal extracts? That's the question.
So, the fact that she only needs 3 power, there's no dice rolling involved, and you can just say, I take this extract, and you can do it late in a turn after your opponent's activated their models. And the counter option is I'm going to take a 4 or a 5-point model and roll dice at your person to try and take it. That's why it seems so strong to me. It's such a powerful effect within the game we play. As long as she has this ability, obviously the rest of her card couldn't be blank, but damn near it could be.
And yet
she has a game-breaking mechanic.
And yet we have a model called Enchantress in the game too. So does Enchantress become in the other 50% of the list you're imagining?
No, because she's a 4-pointer. And she's slower. There's a big difference between the two kits.
But Enchantress has Bow, so she can affect secures. Sure, Enchantress has Beam. Good. Enchantress has a lot more scenario potential than this model does. So, and for one more point, I would consider now I don't think it's as clear.
No, we're saying that Enchantress isn't played in the meta that included Voodoo and Black Cat, and I totally understand that there's no reason to ever play her in those examples.
Right.
But that's all I'm saying is that these are incredible, powerful mechanics, and they should be heavily restricted, in my opinion. They should not be put on models that are good anyways.
I'm going to agree with you 100%. The Steel Extract meta is bullshit. It's full participant.
Not fun to play in.
But yes, I would be happy if all extract steals or drops never would have been printed. The game might have been in a better state. Having said that, I still don't think she's going to be taken nearly as often as you do. We will see who's right.
Yeah, I guess we will. I want to talk more about this later in a separate setting, but now that she's a maximum long move, short place, range 1, there's almost counterplay. The problem before is you couldn't even run away from her. She was faster than you. So there was no way around it.
Yeah, it's because she stole it and got to safety. Mm-hmm. Now, she can't, if she goes last, you have Prio next turn. She can't, whether she steals it first or last in the turn, she's not getting as far away as she did. Yes. Anyway, I like it. We'll see how bad she continues to be.
The next model is the Dompier Eric Brooks, and that is how I will refer to him. He
he narrowly avoided that one.
He gained one thing that is enormous on his card. Such a huge deal for him. Anyone who's ever played the Dhampir can tell you that his inability to move proactively while attacking was such a hindrance. And so now his throwing...
only ever played Midnight Suns.
Yeah, his throwing glaives now have pursuit on a hit, which is just huge. I don't know if we need to say more about that. It's just like what his kit really needed, given the ability to move and attack, affect game. It was a big deal.
So I guess my question is, I want to know what you guys think. Maybe I'm alone here. Why is this hit pursuit and Shadowlands Daredevil has auto pursuit?
There's another hit pursuit in the game. I can't remember.
There's other hit pursuits, but like
Psylocke.
The most comparable in chronological release, in my opinion, and in kit as well, is Shadowlands Daredevil. They're the most similar models that have pursuit. They're both 4-pointers. They're both melee range attackers that are kind of like hit and move defensive people.
So
I feel like they are very similar in their design concept. I don't understand why he has hit pursuit and Shadowlands Daredevil has auto pursuit.
So Shadowlands needs to start within 2 because he needs to be able to put his ninjas down and then spender. And he can only put the ninjas down if he is within 2. So in a world in which the ninjas aren't down, if he does his throwing batons and gets his pursuit, what does he do then? He spenders without the ninjas, which is kind of a waste of power. Or he builders, puts the ninjas down, they get a free attack, and then they die later in the turn. It's just a bad all around. Like, Shadowlands needs to start within 2 of his target. With Blade, his pursuit on throwing glaives has a chance to bleed as well. So, obviously, Blade was kind of in the same boat. He wanted to start within 2. He wanted to Katana to bleed them, then Dhampir to kill them. Like, that was Blade's playstyle. Now, he can still do that, because the throwing glaives give both pursuit and the bleed. So he can start from, 2.5, 3 away, throw it, bleed him, pursuit him, and then Dhampir him. So that's, I think, the difference. The pursuit on Daredevil does not give him the offensive potential that this pursuit does on Blade, which is why it's conditional.
I mean, you're talking about 2 different dice triggers on a 4-die attack to set that up. I don't know. It has a nice upside, but...
You asked for an opinion, I gave one.
Yeah, I just feel like the fact that one has a grunt, and it's like we're counting all of the grunt synergies in as well as like, oh, well, he has to have it because he also has a grunt, seems kind of backwards in my mind, because like, well, he's already got more stuff. Like, I get that they're different, and like, he's balanced around having the grunt, but it just seems, I just really don't, feels like stuff like, it's just very arbitrary on when they decide to do dice triggers and auto abilities.
I think Blade's Dhampir is one of the best spenders in the game.
It's good.
So I think you have to be able to get some, put some work in to be able to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's what limits Blade is how do they not let you Dhampir every turn? Because if he's doing that every turn, I think Blade's having a good game.
Maybe. Yeah, that's probably a fair point.
Oh, and they can use he can use bats to make it happen regardless. So he can close the gap, right?
That's a lot of power, but yeah. Because like his spender's 4 already, and he's only getting 1 a turn. So he's throwing the glaive, getting 1. Unless it's turn 3, he's not even using a spender.
True.
Let alone using bats to turn the die. I don't know. Feels like Blade is kind of a lottery machine a lot of the time, but I mean, he's a 4-pointer, so. I like the change a lot. I was just surprised to see that it was hit pursuit, not auto pursuit. Cool. Anybody got anything else for this guy?
Nope.
All right, up next is Daredevil, with another pretty hefty rework on this guy. First up, his physical defense went from 3 to 4, which is not saying nothing considering he has his radar sense. His baton hook now ignores stealth and pushes on a hit rather than a wild, so a little bit more availability for the push. Devil's Deliverance, base dice is increased from 2 to 6, and you only gain 1 die for each non-dazed character within 2. So now you get a lot more base on the Deliverance, but a little bit less potential for explosion. You should still probably net more dice on smaller groups, less dice on the big Yahtzee that is very rare, but technically possible. Just ask Aaron. The Man Without Fear ability gains a short advance as well as all the other effects. And for the first time, we have a new affiliation in Defenders called Marvel Knights. Huge shout out to one of my favorite comics series ever. Once per turn, an allied character may reroll a number of its attack dice equal to the number of enemy characters within 2 of itself. So you're always going to reroll at least 1 if you're attacking at range 2, but if you're in the midst of lots of models, once you can reroll pretty fat stack. It also obviously combos with a bunch of Daredevil's abilities, potentially. So it's a cool leadership for him exactly, and then also anybody else who want to be in the mix. There are notably there are some scrappy defenders that like to be in the middle of things.
Wow, I missed that on the stream. I had a couple moments where it paused, and I was in my car. Wow, that's pretty cool.
What part are you wowing over?
I'm just thinking of how many times I've played on scenarios that are E.
Like Researcher?
Yeah. And everybody's just kind of clustered up, and that's just what you're doing. And watching, Doctor Strange re-roll a dozen times.
Well, yeah, if you're just, let's say you have 3 enemies, you Devil's Deliverance, it's a 9-die attack that gets 3 re-rolls.
On one
That's
of the attacks,
AoE
right?
2. That's AoE 2, yeah.
On one attack.
Right.
Crazy.
It's once per turn. It's once per turn.
Also,
it's going to be nothing.
Man Without Fear is a really underrated ability. Like, nobody plays Daredevil, so people don't know. He gets to attack you. Like, if I asked you to name the number of models that get to attack you back on your turn, nobody names Daredevil.
And now he gets to move short before he does it. So if you're attacked far away, he'll probably still get you. At range 3, he
he's
gets you.
basically Sabretooth.
Yes.
So here's a question. So I think the whole card's interesting, but I'm not sure if I'm more interested in playing him as a defender leader or playing him as I don't know what to call it, a brawling assassin in a different list, whether it's webs or otherwise.
Well, Web Warriors does have a notable amount of defenders crossover, so you could play a web defenders if you wanted to, but easily actually. If because now you can do
he's affiliated.
What's that?
So he's affiliated, so you get the all webbed up.
Yes, you
bonus. Yeah, so you can do his Devil's Deliverance goes to a base 8 dice, and if you hit like 3 people, then it's 11 die AoE too. Oh wait, because does it counter synergy itself? Because it's after each attack is resolved, the target character is pushed away short, and then the attack is this attack adds 1 die to each of its attack rolls for each non-base enemy within 2.
When
you
this
lose
attack
a die each time.
When this attack was chosen.
Oh, okay.
When this attack was chosen.
Oh, yeah, the last word chosen. Okay.
You get to add the dice to the entire pool and then resolve all the effects as you do the attacks.
Okay.
They cover that.
He's a little more interesting now.
Somebody who's
really, what all did they change other than his leadership?
4 physical defense is the biggest.
The 4 physical defense is huge. Coming from somebody who's played a lot of martial artists. Like, this guy actually might go in my martial artist list, the Steve martial artist list. Like, Man Without Fear costing 1 in that list would be awesome. And the fact that he has perfect martial artist at any range with 4 physical is really outstanding. It was one of the things, honestly, that was holding him back before, is because his dice pool was actually just smaller than most people's, too small for compared to most people's attack pool. But now it's close enough that your dice should beat their dice in most builders.
So I still don't know.
Oh, they changed his baton hook
to a pull instead of a push.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if you're
on a hit,
I still think he is squishy as fuck. Radar sense sometimes works great, sometimes does nothing. Like, attack him with energy, you can count blanks on 3, and that might get you an extra block. Or
he's harder to kill than Spider-Woman.
What?
So he gets radar sense all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you just mystic him and he has less health than Spider-Woman.
He has the same amount of health as Spider-Woman.
No, Spider-Woman has 1 more on her healthy side. He's 5'6".
1 less on the back.
Sure.
That's true.
She's 6'5". It's the same health.
Okay.
I thought she was a 6'6".
No, she's 6'5".
Okay.
They're both 11s. They're both 4/3/3s. She has stealth, but he gets radar sense to infinite range instead of range 2 on martial artist.
Yep. I'm just concerned because I think you really need to get work out of Devil's Deliverance. And I'm a big fan of the swing turn.
He doesn't do anything but damage, really, except for Baton Hook. Right. As where, like, Spider-Woman steals extracts. Like, they're different models, but...
So, my problem is, you're either going to, like, live the dream, and you're going to Man Without Fear after they attack you and don't kill you, and then you're going to get all that power back, because you are attacking with a builder. Mm-hmm. Or, you're going to play Man Without Fear, you're going to do no damage, and you're going to get flipped with, like, 2 power, and you're not even going to have power to play Devil's Deliverance.
Well, you can't Man Without Fear if you're flipped. So you're going to Devil's Deliverance
on the front. Like, you've got 3 power, right? He damages you, so you spend 2 of it. Mm-hmm. You Man Without Fear, you don't get any back, right? So you're effectively spending the power that you got by being damaged for no effect.
Sure.
So you're going to end up...
But you're making 2 builders in there before you're doing Devil's Deliverance, ideally.
Also, the strike does have a wild stun, so even if you don't do any damage, you might stun them in the middle of their turn. That's not nothing.
Yeah, but Aaron's just talking about he thinks the design of the model is to maximize Devil's Deliverance, and you can't do that if you don't have 5 power.
Correct.
I think the Baton Hook, ignoring stealth now, is also not nothing. A pull on a stealth model at range 4 is a pretty big deal, because most models that love, to run with extracts would hate to see Daredevil just yank him. I think he's got more utility now than I think before he was Devil's Deliverance. I think he has more utility now. I think we might be looking at Daredevil kind of like I looked at Black Bolt, which is Black Bolt used to be a turret, and so now that he's more than that, I think he's somehow meh. I think Daredevil, they purposely made him more than just his spender, and I think that's the way he used to look.
Kind of wish his Baton Hook was a gainer. I feel like he'd be really strong if his Baton Hook was a gainer. But without it being a gainer, it feels like you're just gambling on a dice mechanic. It is only a hit, so it's pretty reliable.
I don't know. The 5 health still kills me. Like, for a 4 threat should not have 5 health on their healthy side. I value the health on healthy side more than the other.
Sure, and that's fair.
The reason why is because it's harder to push damage through earlier in the game. Because people aren't spendering you with 8 dice turn 2.
I think
more than they are turn 4, right?
Is no one's going to fucking ever attack this guy if they have any choice about it. Because he's one of the best defenders in the game for his point slot. And he can potentially punch you back if you do damage. Like, or even if you don't do damage. If he has 2 power and you shoot him, he walks up and hits you in the face. Like, why would you attack him?
Well, sure, if I'm MODOK, I fucking own Daredevil.
Sure.
So there's lots of models that can hurt him.
I'm just pointing out that the vast majority of models don't want to attack him because it's not going to be worth it and they're going to take damage back. So it's going to be like Sabretooth, where he never gets attacked unless it's a bad situation for him. So as long as you keep him out of bad situations, he never really takes damage.
Sure. So I agree. I'm being more negative than I actually am. Because I'm more confused, right? That's why I don't know if I'm baton hooking. Am I just like double moving long to my opponent, being like, we're going to have a fun turn 2? Like some combination of strike, deliverance, and Man Without Fear. Like, who knows? We'll see how it plays out. Or am I using him as a Marvel Knights defender leader, in which case I sure as hell can't do that. At least not turn 1-2, because I'm pretty squishy. I don't know. Like, I'm confused and need to put him on the table.
I'm just surprised that you liked him before, and now you're like, I don't know what to do with him.
Well, because his play pattern was the first one. Like, it was, I'm running towards you, and I'm fucking owning the world. That's all he did.
How is he any worse at doing that exact same thing?
He's not.
Okay.
However,
he just has more lines of play now.
Correct.
Okay.
So he was a niche web warrior. Like, he fulfilled a specific void web warriors had on E scenarios, or maybe like a sword base. If you had people, clumped up, Daredevil had an I win button. That I win button isn't as big as it used to be, right? You're not doing 12 dice with Devil's Deliverance anymore. So they nerfed his I win button, but gave him a bigger toolkit.
So what's the example you're saying he's worse at? Is if you got to 5 people clumped up?
4. It's actually 4 now. So he is better at 1, 2, 3. No, there are 3.5 is the break even. So
okay, so it's 1 die worse if they have 4 people, and that's a big nerf to you.
Fucking huge.
Okay. All right. So anybody else have opinions about this? I don't. Why are we going on a 10-minute rant when we're so short on time about? I'm very upset they buffed this model. You're making no fucking sense.
I think this is exactly this is we're playing for Aaron as Black Bolt was for me. This is just a buff. He's just stronger. We should all appreciate it. And yet Aaron's the only one who's struggling because he played Daredevil and loved him for the thing he used to do, I think.
He still does it though. That's why I don't understand. They didn't take that away.
No. Oh, it's just because I haven't decided. I haven't decided how to use him yet.
Okay,
that's it.
Well, that's on the record. Aaron doesn't know how to use Daredevil.
Yeah, you're right.
We can. Nobody else has any opinions about Daredevil.
He is a really beautiful.
He's confused.
He is a really beautiful. Daredevil is a very pretty model that's been sitting on my shelf for a long time, and every time I see him, I'm like, oh man, I love this model. I'm really excited to use it.
Parker, I respect your opinions. I don't want to cut you off, but we have way more important stuff to talk about.
That was all
Please go to the next model.
The next model
we need to talk about the next model.
The next model is Dr. Voodoo. I don't know if you guys know anything about him. He's not really a big deal. Moving on. Dr. Voodoo.
If you didn't get to tune in to the live stream, we got to see them drag Jericho out back and shoot him in the head. And everyone applauded.
Yeah. So, Spirit Venom gained a size 2 throw on a hit, but it no longer does the sap power. Is that right?
Still has sap power. Still has sap. It's on a double hit.
Yeah, double hit he throws. Yeah, there it is. His possession, the target now it just affects holding objectives. You can still contest secures if you're possessed.
And interact.
Yes. Daniel moves back to Voodoo when he is dazed now, and when another character who has the token is dazed or KO'd. Yes. Yeah. So if he falls off when any model that is part of the process is dazed. And the recall ability has increased from 2 to 3.
Yeah. Eat a dick. So yeah, who's happy about these changes? Personally,
everyone.
I think they could have done more. Just saying.
I think they wanted to keep him. I think they wanted to keep him a 4-pointer. I don't think they wanted to penalize people who liked him.
No, so I think this model is still good, right?
Yeah, he's still fine.
Yeah, he's not absolutely busted. Mm-hmm. This model seems more in line with what we would expect the game to look like.
Right.
I think he's actually still quite good. We've talked so much about how we like his spender, and he's really good about using his spender now because he's not burning all of his power trying to possess people, and you're not actively penalized for doing what isn't the internet famous thing to do. So he's able to stand there and brawl with people pretty well. He's got a great stat line. There's nothing wrong with this guy.
He still is, a singular model who can move once, possess somebody, they'll drop their extract, he picks it up, and he can move away. So he doesn't. Yeah. He's still one of the characters that can drop an extract without an action. So it's still cool. Yeah.
Very good changes.
So can he not move the Brother Daniel token back to him during the power phase?
I don't think so. I don't think he ever had the ability to do that.
Only when this character is targeted by an attack.
Yeah, he always be able to do that. Move it back into power.
So, you could move it back to be.
So he lost the ability to move it back for free, and it costs 3.
Yeah,
that might that honestly might be the deal breaker for me because I was still debating.
Yeah, you have to actually decide if you're going to possess somebody. It's like a decision, not like an automatic press the button.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's going to cost 3 to get the spirit back, no matter what.
I think that's why they decided to leave sap power on him, is because he's going to need more power now. And so he's actually punished for possessing people as opposed to it being basically free before.
Well, he will get Brother Daniel back if anybody is dazed, right? Either himself or his target.
Him or the person, yeah.
Yeah.
But before, if you were activating late in the turn and the person the people you're standing by have already activated, you just possess the person, pick up the objective, and then on the next turn, you'd move it back to you in the power phase.
Yep.
And so it didn't cost you anything.
Right.
And so now you're looking at it costing 3 more than the possession cost, which is a noticeable charge.
And it's not going to happen during the power phase at all. He doesn't even have the opportunity. So he's going to be able to be attacked with his 2/2/4.
No.
You'll just have to spend the 3 power to get back.
Right. But he's going to get. But if he doesn't have that for some reason, because he spent all of his power picking up extracts and targeting you with Brother Daniel, you're going to take at least 1 attack with 2/2/4.
Right. So in the standard example, 3-point model holding it, it's going to cost him 3 + 1 to pick it up, and then he's going to have another 3 to pull Daniel back. She'll have a window, like
Right.
you're saying, and we were saying, that you can really punish him for it. So, anyway,
this was the only part of the stream that actually upset me.
Oh,
Yeah,
Upsets you?
yeah, literally upset me. So
I thought the Daredevil thing had you pretty steaming.
Yeah.
no, I was
Sounded
not
like
steaming
Daredevil.
about
It sounded like
I was
Daredevil really.
I'm
been out of
confused.
shape.
Daredevil confuses me.
Why does Matt Murdock plex you so?
I don't know. I will sleep on it.
It's because
So,
he's blind.
30 seconds, I rag on AMG, and then we give them kudos for all the good shit they did. So on the stream, they said, hey, you guys must be wondering why there have been unanswered questions on the forum for over a year. That's because the interactions did not work.
Mm-hmm.
Really? So you've known for over a year that you published rules that don't work, and you waited a fucking year to fix it? Fuck you. I'm done. Rant over.
So clearly, they are locked into when they're going to print a new card box and when they're not going to print a new card box. I think everyone would have been happy if he got the Malekith treatment and there was just a print-to-play card available for him.
Or just a one-line errata. Like, they even said they will errata functionality issues.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
we've
I
known
agree.
this for a year. God damn it, guys. Make up your mind.
Mr. Screamy Pants.
Yes.
I
said
totally agree with you.
there was one thing that pissed me off. So
Nobody... Okay, so I've never met an intelligent adult who ever thought voodoo was okay. So, like, we can everyone agrees. So, I think everyone would have liked to see an update sooner.
When I heard that, Aaron, I actually thought, why are you lying? Like,
Mhm.
that's my opinion. Like, that sounds like exaggeration for the sake of, selling the moment of revealing voodoo. So he looked for a comment to say, and so that's what came out of his mouth. But he should have put his foot in it, right? Because it would be taken like the way you just did. I don't think he practiced or rehearsed that. I think that was something he just kind of off the cuff, a way to hype up his reveal of the character. So, wasn't angry.
Okay, again, we are halfway done with our time. We've gotten a quarter of the way through the list. We're going to have to speed this up a lot.
Oh no, I think we're at a great pace.
We're definitely
Electra's
not.
up next. Electra has more physical defense now, and her ancient throwing blades is a gainer now. It gains 1 power. That's Electra. So Hela,
Yep.
Queen of Hell, has a Hellforged blade now. It's range 3 instead of range 2. Her Claim Soul ability now only costs 1. Reign of Hell now only costs 3. Army of Hell no longer works on Claim Soul. And Death's Embrace is a new active superpower she has that costs 2, and she can advance short towards an enemy within 3. And then she gets to roll 4 dice and do damage on a crit wild. So it's kind of like an offensive counter-strike that moves her.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a charge into a counter-strike, right?
Yeah, but it's only a short advance.
Yeah, but it doesn't cost an action, so it's a
Right.
actionless move that does damage. That's really cool.
Within 3,
That
though.
is cool.
So
Yeah.
it's not in any direction. It's an advance towards a tear. So you can't like go backwards or sideways. You got to go towards somebody.
Mhm.
But no, it is cool. It is like it's like an interesting offensive moving counter charge if they're close. It's a cool ability. It's unique for sure.
Yeah, I think the fact that she was really action hungry before, and I know somebody that sometimes I respect his opinions, although not so much today. He said that she needs a superpower that she can use. So I think these are a lot of good changes. However, I did not realize that they took away her ability to add dice to her Claim Soul attack.
Mm-hmm.
Does that seem odd to anybody else?
Yeah, they just
Show
took it away.
hands.
It's now just Hellforged and Reign of Hell. I think they wanted to take away her gimmick, right? She had one gimmick, which is buff Claim Soul.
I mean, that wasn't the player base's fault.
No.
It's almost like you only gave them one tool.
Right.
They threw a wrench at somebody. You're like, why'd you do this? You only gave me a wrench.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, I'm going to need you to tell me if this model is good now.
This model is clearly better. I really wanted Claim Soul to be automatic.
I agree
However,
with that.
Death's Embrace is sexy.
It is. Feel like feel like this is very Wizard of Oz-esque. It's like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, look at the shiny thing, but you didn't fix the problems.
There is something of note. Death's Embrace is only on her healthy side. It's replaced by
Yeah.
the resurrection effect on her backside.
Yeah.
So she still has no superpowers on her backside. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's still 4 health on the backside.
And when she comes back to life, she just comes back with... Oh, it removes all damage, so she goes back to life with 4 health. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. She seems... what's the word? Bad. Anyway, I don't know. She's more interesting now. That's 100% true.
I will say that she's still... she fits in that interesting... category of a medium base, medium move, 2-power model. Like, that's always relevant. Before, Beta Ray was just heads and tails so much better than her that you pick Beta.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is now an argument to be made that Hela could be played if you need that. If there's an argument.
If only there wasn't a better medium 2 in
I'm just
faction.
I'm just saying, not in the faction. I'm saying like in general.
Yeah. No, but that's the problem. Like if she was in, I guess they're not in the exact same affiliations. Because I think Hela might be in Cabal. I'm not 100%.
She is. I think she's
so
Cabal.
that might be the only reason anyone ever plays her over.
I don't know if she is. Let me look and see if she's in Cabal.
I don't think she is.
She is.
No, she's she's only in Asgard. She's only in Asgard.
Definitely in Cabal.
No, she was just played in Cabal. She's only an Asgard model.
Yeah, so that's a problem. I don't know what this model's supposed to do. I think she's way more interesting now. Reign of Hell and Claim Soul costing less is super reasonable. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I have a seat on the table because it's an abstract change. I think I would have done it differently, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. So
it's all about Death Embrace. Like, triple 4s with 6 health on the front side, plus Asgard's leadership healing her. Like, I literally just got done playing Asgard for a week and a half.
And I believe you said, I'm so happy I don't have to play Hell anymore.
This is a true statement. However, the one thing she did pretty well was survive.
Just because nobody bothered to attack her.
That's not true.
When they're like, oh good, let me pick out the most threatening models here on the table, Thor and Valkyrie.
Well, she picks up an extract, she makes him attack her. And now she can like move, pay to flip, or pick up an extract and claim soul turn 1. It's good play pattern.
That's big. That's big.
Death Embrace healing for each damage she...
I think more importantly, she can Death Embrace turn 1. So you advance medium Death Embrace attack.
Oh, I forgot the heal effect. Yeah. I didn't mention that yet. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anybody that's sexy.
Yeah. For 2 power. It's a lot of really good things for 2 power.
Yeah, she might be stabbing people with swords on turn 1. Like this is it's not irrelevant stuff.
No. So
like it's to the point where like let's say you even played Lockjaw, like place her with Lockjaw, she immediately does the Death Embrace and double attacks somebody.
She also moves. She's also medium base, so she will really haul ass.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like she's gonna be like past center line, double attacking. Well, not double attack, single attack plus like a counter strike.
Let's discount Lockjaw, but sure. Like I said, Death Embrace. I want to put this model on the table to test it.
Yeah, just Death Embrace. Because the medium move gets you within contest range of... the medium plus short will get you past center line.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah. Anyway, definitely more excited than I used to be about her. So, let's move on.
Malekith. Malekith, everybody's favorite kitty writer, now has 1 less health on his healthy side, from 10 down to 9. 1 less health on his injured side, so that's from 8 down to 7. So now he is grand total of 16 as opposed to 18. His Blade of Midnight attack lost Pierce, so it's basically no longer pierces. And Ferocity has a maximum size for its throw now, only 3 or less.
Jeremy, would you like to comment?
I am sad.
Ferocity, really? You're like really sad?
Yeah, Ferocity not being able to throw any of the big guys really kept him in that fight. That's tough. Now, with that said, it's not the worst. It is still good, but I think it has to be rethought what you're going to do with him, which is probably good. It's probably good.
I think one of the things we talked about, earlier was remaking models to get to the vision of what the model should be. And I don't think Malekith, what I'm gathering from this rework is Malekith was not supposed to be a monster dueler. He was not supposed to go up against Sentinels and Hulks and things like that. He wasn't supposed to toss around giant models with the pointy end of his sword.
Mhm.
He was supposed to go kill little guys. He's supposed to like put anything smaller than him down in the dirt, right? He
He's
takes
a bully.
what's that? Yeah, he's a
He's
bully.
a bully.
He's cruel, right? He takes advantage of people who are obviously less advantaged than themselves, and he destroys them, right? Pushes them down to the ground. And I don't think he was supposed to go up against Hulks and Black Dwarfs. That's not the targets he chooses.
He's
right?
not Butcher of Hulks. He's Butcher of Thors.
Right, and Thor is size 2. He's just a god.
Yeah.
So I think that they're with this. They're trying to say that he is not himself a giant kaiju that's supposed to go fight other kaijus. That's not what he is. And I like that. I like from a thematic standpoint, from a game theme. You know, what role are you choosing your models for? I like that they took him out of that role. I think it's really weird that a lot of people are like, well, now that he can't fight other monsters, what good is he? I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think that's a clear idea. I think people need to change their idea of what he could do.
I think anyone to say that he's not any good for 7 points is absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
I think it's just fine. I just think it's a different role.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to ask a very serious question right now. Where is Kenny, and is he okay?
He is not okay.
He's not okay.
He's not
Kenny
going
is
to
melting down in the Discord channel right now.
He is actively trying to wedge in a second Cosmic Ghost Rider into his list.
I think anyone who thinks these changes make him unplayable are just being silly. He's clearly still good. I think the biggest change is actually Blade of Midnight losing Pierce. That's so often with the dice mechanics that he works with is almost always an extra point of damage. So if you're just taking a point of damage straight off the top on almost all of his attacks, that's pretty big. And it will end up being as impactful as not being able to throw size 4s, if not more so. Obviously, being able to throw size 4s is great and good, but I don't think he was supposed to be doing that in the first place. I think that was an oversight.
Pierce allowed him to chain damage.
Yeah, he almost did true damage. Like, if you attack a regular person, the average defense roll on every model in the game without martial artist is 1. And so he's basically making them block 0, which is ignoring defense dice most of the time. Obviously, spikes happen, and they're going to block way more than that, or you're going to miss the pierce. But it just makes the average so high. His average damage was almost 5, which is why you get on these silly runs, like he just one-shots 3 people in a row. And you're like, well, fuck me, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. And so it's a lot harder for him to get on those silly runs. But yeah. Anyway, what's next?
Ronan the Accuser. Ronan gained 2 extra health. He's now up from 6 health to 7 health on both his injured and healthy side. Kree Justice was originally printed as a 0-cost power, which is his retributive power. When he gets dazed, he can attack. But apparently that's been already stated that it will still be 4 somewhere.
Are you reading the document, or it's already fixed?
Oh, they already fixed it on here. Got it. Okay, so Kree Justice is now 4, like it's supposed to be. Sorry, the Accuser was the retributive power that was 0. Kree Justice was actually printed to be 4. Sorry, my bad. So we got extra health. That's it.
Yep.
This dude's a fucking hoss.
That was the only change. He got more health.
That's now it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know if it makes people play him. He's always been strong. Extra health is cool.
Definitely makes him feel more like he's worth the 4-point cost. Mm-hmm. He's got an interesting kit. Honestly, I kind of wanted to see his basic attack go up to 6 dice, but that might have been a bit much. I don't know.
Yeah. He's got some cool stuff he does. Let's keep ready to keep going?
Yeah, let's go.
Taskmaster, he finally got basically elevated to have his shield throw be the same as other shield throws, and it now gains an auto power. It is now a gainer, which is just good for him. It was just kind of sad before that he couldn't gain power very well unless he was spiking his attacks.
To be fair, he's not very power hungry. No. But he did want a little bit more power.
Right.
I did also hate that there's a million fucking versions of shield throw. They all used to be the same. Now they're all different.
Yeah. Let's get to a big boy now. Quite literally, Thanos. Thanos only had 1 change, if you don't count his card art. he now can only cosmic portal once per turn. And
Aaron
then,
England, prophet of prophets.
and then a million
Teller of truths.
doves were released into the air, and a rainbow shined above us, and I could go to sleep happy.
Ewok Village. In
Yes.
Yay!
It is. Yay! Fireworks from nowhere. Yes.
I don't think you understand. Ewoks were the greatest firework craftsmen in the galaxy, and no one knew it.
Yeah.
Jeremy, will you now play into Thanos?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Apparently, this change was for the better.
Yeah, this is clearly something that was long overdue. Everyone wanted it. It's an easy fix. We'll see if it's enough. I think it probably is. The big thing is it stops you from like Thanos spiking one roll and doing like 5 damage to somebody, and then also winning the game in a single activation. So that's good.
Yeah, it basically it stops you from completely closing out any hope of your opponent coming back. That's what it does. He can definitely still be a monster, but he should be. He's Thanos. You know, you're spending somewhere between 6 to 8 points on him. He should be a monster. Yeah. But he shouldn't also, like you said, completely unravel any hope of ever having a game plan against him afterwards. Yeah.
Can I introduce the next character?
You just want to say his name?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
And in other recent news, Thor has been hitting the gym.
Yeah. Thor now has an extra health on his healthy side, so he's now at 7 health on the front side, and still his whopping 8 on the back. His God of Thunder spender now costs 4 as opposed to 6, and auto shocks, and he's immune to shock and stun. Not nothing.
He also gained a Mystic Defense.
Yeah,
that's right. Mystic Defense. Yes,
he's the Force. These are all good changes. I don't know if it's going to go long enough to stop him from getting on the looking for wilds, please help. But I think it's pretty good. Because I mean, honestly, every bad game I can remember with Thor, he always gets like 2 negative effects on him, and he just feels like a 3-point model. And so, like if he ever got shocked, it curved into him being able to do anything. And so it's really nice, actually. And stun, being that he naturally generates 2 power, it's a pretty big deal too.
I also think this, again, here's another one of those. We want him to feel like Thor should feel. It makes sense, right? Thor's not shocked or stunned. He's Thor.
Well, you can definitely look back and see that he was in the era where models didn't get infinite free immunities, and you can tell.
Right.
And then you look at today, and it's like Voodoo and Ghost Rider running around with 5 immunities. You're like, what happened, guys?
Yeah. Let's talk. Can we talk about the mail? I want to talk about the mail for a second.
No.
Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier got a big change. Rapid fire now on a wild rather than a hit.
I believe he's the only one with on a wild, right?
Red Fury now pushes now size 3, and you have to push them to trigger the assault rifle, which was, I think, the same thing it used to be, right? You have to.
Yep.
You had to push them.
Yes, it is an if then.
But the biggest thing is it is a size 3 now, which means he can't do crazy amounts of damage to big guys. But the assault rifle being a wild now, holy crap, that brings the likelihood of rapid fire down dramatically.
Yeah, it cuts it in half.
Yeah.
Personally, I would have rather have seen it been a block, not a hit, but that's me. Because then it doesn't trigger on the same one that triggers bleed, and you can't do it while maxing out. And so if he's spiking really high, he's usually not also triggering rapid fire. Which is really, honestly, important for Spetsnaz training, because if you roll 4 hits into somebody, or 4 wilds, you might decide to reroll one trying to get the block, or vice versa. You would not choose to reroll a block to try and then get a hit. It goes a decent way towards curving it. It's similar to what they did with Corvus's Flurry. It's on a block, so he can't also hit on that die.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I also would accept even
change.
a skull. They've done that a couple times. Is change things to a skull. But yeah.
My prediction is he's gone.
Really?
Yep. Oof. I don't think you'll see him anymore.
Only because my good friend Frank Castle's going to take his spot.
Dude, I think you're right.
I think...
Well, it's really just Rogue Agent's the question, right? If you don't need Rogue Agent, I think that's a good call.
I think you still see him for exactly the reason you just said, with just Rogue Agent. I think you could still see him.
Well, now you might be seeing Taskmaster.
Hell yeah.
you might see a Taskmaster. I don't know if you'll see a Taskmaster, but you will see. I think you'll see less Winter Soldier because he's a lot less that quad tap always, or that quad tap was so reliable, just a lot less reliable now.
Oh, he's not getting 8 power on turn 1. Sorry.
Yeah. I think now you'll see. You know who actually you'll see more? I think you'll see Senior Fury and the Howling Commandos, because they're very similar to him in playstyle, but they're a lot more reliable in a lot of the stuff they do. So,
well, the problem was range 5, right? It's not that he rapid fired; it's that he was range 5 rapid fire for
right.
sure.
He could just come from so far away and just eat something that was way bigger than him.
Yeah, and I remember back in the day when he wasn't played, and they just added rapid fire to his card. We're like, "Excuse me, you can't do that," and then it turns out you can't do that.
Can't do that. It's not, in fact, not okay.
Yep.
It's like we can do whatever we want. It's like you cannot do whatever you want.
Nope.
Anyway.
So back to Defenders buffs. Defenders just got buffs all over the place.
My God!
So
the Sorcerer Supreme is back in action.
Wong got a reprint. He's now the Sorcerer Supreme. He has extra defense in physical, extra defense in energy, and now
he was always 3 energy.
Was he always 3 energy? Okay, so it's just
always 3 energy.
So it's just the physical, and now while he's within 3 of any Stephen Strange, he adds 1 to his defense rolls. So you could do it with either of the Stevens now. So
God damn.
Back up. Wong
can I tell you
on every board.
Can I tell you something that was said to me yesterday by a member of your extended family?
Go ahead.
Wong is fucking bullshit. How do they allow models like that to exist?
He's not wrong. Wong sometimes feels like an absolute monster, like a menace.
It's a cheat mode.
My favorite thing that happened in my game yesterday against John was Wong interacted with the Riot, healed Gwen for 1. Then he spent an action to heal her with Blessing, healed her 2 more, and then he spent a power with Blessing and healed Spider-Woman. So he healed 5 damage. I was like, patch up, please.
Oh my God.
So of all of the character changes, this is the only one I actually disagree with.
I think the physical increase actually is wrong. But the servant to the Sorcerer Supreme needed to happen.
I totally agree. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that's clarification thing. I'm not sure why they added him physical.
Wong is a model that when you look at, he should die. Like, he does shit for offense. Anecdote aside.
People underestimate his strike.
Sure.
And I only say that because why would you meditate when you can punch somebody and also gain a power?
I'm just saying, like, it should be a cost on my action economy to go after your pathetic little sitting on a point healing your team, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing that you're not going to do damage to me, I'm literally taking away. I'm using my 3-pointer to take away your 2-pointer, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So now that you're going to do that less reliably, seems bad. Because if you just let Wong heal fucking 5 every turn, it's ball breaking. Mm-hmm. Like, I think you need to be able to remove that. And the fact that they made it harder, it does not make me happy.
Well, I would just push back with the concept that he's noticeably the easiest to kill model in the game. The easiest to kill character in the game. And with the adjustment to Rocket, it's not even close. He was noticeably the easiest to kill. I don't think that's what he was supposed to be. Like, every other 2-pointer is a noticeable step above him in survivability.
Bullseye says, hold my beer.
Stealth and parting shot? Or I guess he doesn't have stealth.
He
just
doesn't have stealth.
Parting shot.
But he's got two mystic defense, so.
Sure. So like they were both 3/3/2. Except Mystic is a way harder one to take advantage of for most people.
Yeah.
You're spending a premium attack at minimum, assuming you even have one in the area to do it with. Parting Shot is clearly better than anything Wong has. So, like, he was harder to kill than Wong is.
I concur. It's not like night and day.
Far better offense to pack it up. So he's exclusively a support model that was also super easy to kill. I think they just weren't happy with that. I'm not saying he needed it. I think I understand their idea with it, but it feels like if I was going to put anyone on this list to get adjusted, like Sorcerer Supreme buff is the only reason that this model made the list, and then they were just like Salt Bay threw a physical defense on there. It's like, okay, I guess. Yeah. I would have rather have seen 4 Mystic than 3 physical, personally, even though it's less for game balance, more for just like he's Wong. He's not a pushover.
He was, like I said, he was the only model that did not need touched, but they touched him anyway.
Okay, what's next?
The next one is my boy, Cable, the Askani-san. Got some buffs. First one is he has now gained extra health on his front side, making him 7 health, which is not nothing at all. His plasma rifle, this is enormous, is now re-rolling 2 dice if your target's within range 3. So it's still a 5 dice attack, but if you're within 3, you re-roll 2. Askani-san, the attack now only costs 5, still fairly garbage, but maybe it actually happens. And he got a modified, or I guess it's the leadership has been modified. Wetworks, his X-Force affiliation leadership, now allows you to re-roll a skull once per turn. So if you were re-rolling once as an attack, you can re-roll the skull. And if you do that, and the enemy character is within 3, the character does not benefit from cover. So this would ignore basically somebody within range, outside of 2 but still in 3. It would also ignore someone like Magneto, who is doing a super version of cover that happens even within range 2.
Ignores the cover rule.
Yeah, ignores the cover rule. So you do get to ignore cover, which only works between band range 2 or 3, unless you're getting cover from some other effect like Rocket or magnetic refraction.
Ignores cover.
Coming from somebody who plays a lot of Cable in... I played him in X-Force for a while until he became less vogue, but I played him a lot in Avengers. This is just so good. Particularly the plasma rifle buff. His health buff is not nothing, but the plasma rifle buff is huge. He was already potentially a really super consistent offensive model. Making him more consistent with his builder is fantastic. I actually am a little surprised they went from a super consistent attacking model to a more consistent attacking model. They didn't really change him. They just made him better at what he does.
Well, I think they recognized correctly that they need to rein in the range 5. It's such a staggering distance within the field of play. They need to rein in the power level of the range 5 while not making them worthless at short range either. And so this is a really good balancing point. I'd like to see a lot more game design with this concept of you get a kicker at short range, but at long range. Magneto's the only other example I can think of offhand. It's you got within the death bubble, so you're just going away now. But outside of that, he's just dangerous. How do you feel about the fact that he got a pretty hefty nerf?
Where's the nerf?
Askani-san lost stagger. It had wild hit stagger on the injured side.
Oh no. Oh shoot.
How are you going to live with yourself?
I don't know what I'm ever going to do. Maybe never use
Askani-san. It was an AoE 2 stagger attack, to be fair.
Yeah. Man, Askani-san is... actually, I'm lying. I did Askani-san once ever, and it was awesome, but...
It's very good.
It's just rare. It's rare to happen, but when it does happen, it's not nothing. But it's close to nothing. In most games, you feel like it's nothing.
Okay, so for you trap people that thought that the X-Men were the only things getting spoiled, as soon as I saw Cable, I went, okay, we're getting all the changes we heard were coming.
Yeah.
And so I had zero thoughts that we weren't getting way more than just X-Men.
All right.
Aren't you so smart?
No, I'm not. But that was pretty linear conclusion, I think.
I know I'm a Cable stan, and so obviously I'm going to play Cable again because Cable got better. But... Mm-hmm. Aaron and Jeremy, does this make you at all more interested in Cable? Just yes or no is fine.
Yes. How would it not?
Okay.
I'm actually potentially more interested in playing Cable under Steve than Cable as Cable, but
yeah, I mean, I played a lot. It's fantastic.
I mean, right
Steve
now
Steve is my new band. Thanos is back in. Steve is my new band.
Steve is your band.
Steve is my new band.
But walk forward, body slide, plasma rifle, getting effectively 7 dice, yeah, I could do that. You build enough power, you throw a size 4. I mean, that's not a bad turn 1.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to just start banning things that Jeremy plays and see how he likes it. Mm-hmm. It's sorry, Jeremy, you can't play that. And he's like, what? Why not?
AMG just did that for you. You're good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's do the next one.
The next is Colossus. He gained a movement speed. So he went from short to medium. This guy huffs it now. Which I think is funny because I think on this podcast, was it like last week or the week before that, we talked about how, I mean, you watch it, if you look at him in the movies, if you look at him in the comics, he's all just like, and they just completely countermanded our idea.
Well, I think there's a lot to go into this, but keep going.
Right. So organic steel gained cannot be pushed by an enemy effect, which is awesome.
That's actually huge.
Yes. And then Big Brother is no longer the traditional bodyguard. It's now the taunt type bodyguard, which is a very different way to play him for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think that's it. I think that's
I think that's it. So I think that they wanted people to be able to get him further up the table, but I don't know. This is so weird. He definitely had bodyguard before because he was slow. And I think the reason they didn't want to make a second medium model in X-Men is something we'll talk about later. And so I think they were waiting for that to happen before they would basically do that again. But I actually think so obviously the no push is way better and the medium speed is way better. I think him having taunt is way worse. I feel like bodyguard is a vastly superior rule to taunt. The fact that he can't be pushed, however, helps that. But like it's so easy to just say, it's like, okay, I'm just going to stand by my friend. Fuck off. There's nothing you can do about it. It's like, or you could just move and attack. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I would, to, people out there, I have a painted Colossus. I like Colossus from the comic books, but I'm still not excited to play this guy. So for those of you who want to convince me to play Colossus, I welcome you to try. I'm still not super excited that this model exists, but
I will convince you because this model is absolutely worth playing.
I totally agree. I thought he was worth playing before.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I did not. Maybe I misspoke and said something like worth playing. What I meant is excited to play him. I'm just not excited to play this model because of what he does. I'm more excited.
Well, you're not excited to play anyone that doesn't have a tuning fork glued to their head. So
maybe I will say that I like my taunters like with big dice, so they turn things on like Black Dwarf, or I could throw them away like Honey Badger. I don't know if I like a middling model that will struggle to take damage so that he can't continue taunting. I don't like that. I want my model to take some damage and deal a lot back, have deep health pool or something, but
view it this way then. The fact that he is a taunter instead of a bodyguard now allows him to attack more frequently while being a bodyguard. Mm-hmm. And so you're allowed to slam fists into people to try and generate more power. So you might have more power on an average turn than you did before.
That's true. That is not nothing. Yeah. Because I really didn't like him being like disengaged away from the fight so you get cover with Storm. Because then you're like, okay, cool. I spent 2 to bodyguard. I take no damage or 1 damage. And now you attack the model again. And I don't have enough to bodyguard. Great job, Colossus.
Right. How about this, Parker? Colossus has one of the top 15% best spenders in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yikes! I'm gonna have to hard disagree with that one, but respect for the argument. Okay.
Without knowing how many models, 15%. Without knowing how many models there are in the game, I'll table my.
Well, there's about 150, so 15% is like what, 22 models or something. Yeah. Top 22.
Maybe I'd have to look at them. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, range 3 cost, 7 dice, auto stun, wild stagger.
It's not. Yeah.
Fuck yes.
That is correct. What he said is true.
I don't understand why you don't like that. Why you're not in love with that.
If you're saying of among 4-pointers,
I'm saying of among 3 cost spenders, like for their point cost, right? We're not comparing it to a 6 cost spender.
Okay, so not by point cost, but by power cost.
Yeah, that's right. Power cost of a spender, right?
I can think of a lot that I would consider better. Not saying you're wrong.
Oh, well, you would be then.
I haven't looked at it, but I'm going to hard disagree.
Okay.
Honestly, for me, the thing that they added is cannot be pushed. After playing things like Blob,
that's the best change.
Yeah, after playing things like Blob for a little while, I'm just like, man, this is. No. I want to make a list that says cannot be pushed in Hellfire.
I was stunned when I saw that it was just flat cannot be pushed and not like due to enemy physical attacks or mental or superpowers.
Yeah, that is period push. That's
that
crazy.
is a unique ability that is very good.
Yeah.
The movement is by far the biggest change.
I disagree.
So
I respect your opinion.
Oh, wow, you were just full of politeness tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So what broke Colossus for me was the play pattern of him being thrown medium by pick your fucking model.
Sure.
Right? And then he's only got 2 range on his strike, so he has to double move to get back. Fuck that. Right? So you essentially completely neutered his entire activation by being thrown medium. Now with his
you can somewhat combat that with placement. Like if you stand like directly on top of an objective, they can't throw you off while you're still contesting it. Like you can still get back.
Sure. But anyway, the medium move brings him back regardless of their throw. Mm-hmm. I really think that was the breaking point of Colossus, was like both him and Omega Red, like the short movers, God, it's just so bad.
No, I can definitely feel that. I think they realized that at one point and stopped printing medium throws outside of like 6-pointers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or,
that's a fair concern. Yeah. So just real quick, I wanted to tell you guys I'm feeling a little nauseous in expectation for the next model, so I'm going to take a quick break. You guys could go ahead and power on without me. I'll see you guys in a bit.
I'm actually not going to lie. I'm really glad that he's leaving for this. So let's talk about Scott Summers' Cyclops. Cyclops got a couple different things, and I think we can be happy about all of them. First off, Optic Blast. Now we push on a wild. Sizes increase from 2 to 3. It's also gained Speed of Sight, which is on a crit hit, you can immediately make another Optic Blast targeting another character. It cannot be the same character.
Wild hit.
It was a wild hit?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a wild hit. Sorry. I'm using a cheat sheet, not looking at the cards all the time. Optic Devastation is a suppression on wild now causes target to lose 1 power per wild in the attack roll. And it was presumably before just a single ever. So you can actually suppress more than once if you have more than 1 wild. And finally, X-Men Blue, the most reviled, terrible leadership in the game, got a little better with heavy sarcasm. X-Men Blue now does this. When an allied character deals damage to an enemy character with an attack, another allied character within 5 of the attacking character may gain 1 power. Any character can only gain that power as a result of leadership once per turn. So, for the layperson, every single time you deal damage to an enemy character, one of your characters can gain 1 power during that turn. So you can generate multiple power, but no single character can benefit from it more than once. It's almost exactly the opposite of A-Force, because A-Force is exactly the same effect, only when taking damage.
It's within 5, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the
5.
fuck do they put ranges on this shit now?
Yeah, A-Force is the board. This is 5.
So weird.
Are we in the D's yet?
Nope.
Damn it.
So
I really thought you guys would be done by now.
So I love Scott Summers, and I've never got to play him because my friend Aaron played him and tried really hard to make it work and told me that it's just garbage. Do something else with your limited amount of time in your life. And so I'm really excited to pull this model out and give it a shot. I think people are a little bit super hyped about him. I don't know if he is super hype. I think he's just strong. As somebody who's played a lot of A-Force, I can tell you that, range 5 will probably matter sometimes. Also, you have to deal damage, and if you don't deal any damage, because you have to do it with an attack, not a throw, any other kind of auto damage thing doesn't work, so you have to roll dice, you have to deal damage. So if your character needs to move twice, or if he's staggered, there's lots of ways to just not gain that power.
It's at least similar to Red Skull 1, right?
Right. It is.
Power level, yeah.
So if you looked at this and went, oh my god, all my guys will always have tons of sorry. If all my guys will have so much power, infinite power, that's not this. You will if you are already dealing damage, you will, flatten that power curve a little bit. It'll be a little more gentle for you. But
I'd say about on average, 2/3 of attacks deal damage, and so you're generating the exact same amount of power as She-Hulk is. You're just limited on where you can put it by more. I think it's pretty good, considering his previous leadership didn't give you any power. Like, this seems just strictly better.
Oh, he is insanely better.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I think everyone agrees on that. So,
right.
So, this is analogous in my mind to Inhumans.
Mm-hmm.
So let's pretend like I'm playing fucking CGR with, X-Men Blue. And all of my other X-Men go first, and they're all doing damage on their turns. Let's pretend I'm 4 wide. So I guess they just each funnel a power to CGR at a minimum every turn. So CGR is just spendering every turn with Summer's leadership. That sounds fucking stupid.
I agree.
And that's just one example, right? I mean, so you can use the leadership to power up your team, or you could specifically funnel it to a model. Pick your model that you want to have a bunch of power on it. So,
you do have to have the opportunity to attack and spend it. Like, there is a chance that X-23 gets activate early, and so she'll do some damage and give out 2 power. And cool, X-23's activation generated 2 power across your list. But then the next model that you have that's like Domino is a premium attacking model that would generate a lot of power. Well, your opponent dazed her or threw her away, and so now she has to spend one of her activations to move back. Like, they're just by playing the game correctly, you won't get all of the things you want out of the new X-Men Blue. If your opponent's just playing the game correctly, you don't even have to play really against it. You can still mitigate X-Men Blue.
Sure, but I think X-Men Blue will, on average, generate more power than Steve leadership saves over a 5-turn game.
I think that's correct.
I think, yes, but Steve's leadership is more proactive, right? You can do it on turn 1. You can do it.
It is a turn 1 leadership better. I don't know about more proactive, because you can do different and more interesting things with X-Men Blue. But Steve is definitely a turn 1 leadership.
I would agree that Steve is more proactive, but it definitely has a lower upside because of the amount of power you can potentially compile on one person. Yeah,
I think this will be a top 5 leadership in 2 months.
Is A-Force to you a top 5 leadership?
No.
Well, it's also completely non-proactive is the problem.
Right.
It's also on a 6 threat. It's on a 6 threat leader.
Sure.
You put that leadership on a 3 threat leader, I think it might be.
I don't know. I agree. A-Force leadership is very strong. It's just the problem is it's 100% reactive and you have no control over it.
But if your opponent's completely disengaging from you, then it gets worse. In the same way, Cyclops is also worse if your opponent's completely disengaging from you. I think.
Well, right, but with Cyclops, you're the one making the attacks. There's a lot of people who build lists where the main point is not really attack their opponents. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, your list is designed to attack your opponents. So, that's not a problem. It's just that if you can have enemies within range, and if your opponent is like a Hulk, everyone can just shoot the Hulk and get power. And so
the issue is going to be
it's more proactive. Is all I'm saying.
When you're playing on a B.
Go ahead.
Okay.
They definitely designed. I'm not saying this won't work. I am just saying people's expectations right now. From the very small parts of the community that I'm seeing, everybody is like their tongues are rolling out for this, and I am just saying, listeners, temper your expectations for this to be the god roll best ability and best leadership of the game. I don't think that's what it is. I think it is very, very strong. I'm glad Scott has it.
I haven't seen anybody say that, but if they're saying that, I would agree they're wrong.
Yeah. I think it'll be significantly neutered, when playing on a B or a D, right? So you're like, oh, I could rapid fire with pick your model and give 4 power on my turn. True, as long as they're all within range 5 of you. Right. Totally not going to happen, not even all the time, but most of the time.
Yeah.
So, yes, people need to temper their expectations with how much power it will generate. I still think it will be significant. Mm-hmm. But, again, we can talk deep strategy later. Do you need to dual affiliate for when you're spread out? Is this only, a clustered leadership? Or can you effectively play Summers as a leader on Infinity Formula, for instance? I don't know yet.
So our next model is the mutant who's not a mutant, Deadpool. He has a couple different changes on here. First off, Stab now on a wild gets you to stab, which is target the same character again with another stab. So he couldn't do that before. His stab was just a builder. Yeah. Now it's a builder with the possibility to shoot again. Bang now has Bang Bang, which did exist before, but it gains an auto power now, which is enormous. It used to just do nothing for power. However, it lost the ability to bang, 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 which is the third attack. So he now cannot attack 3 times in the weird situation where that happens, which happened for me too much for me to have a clear view of what it actually does. You can't spell Legendary without Leg Day. It's a new power that he can just place range 2 for cost 2. For someone who really, really loved to play Deadpool and try to make him work right when he came out, because I love how he interacted with Kingpin. I played X-Force. Great changes. He really needs these things to be considered, but I think he's much better as a 3-pointer now.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Speaking of models that now probably cost their points, Jean Grey.
We're just moving on. Okay.
I'm sorry. I heard you guys get really quiet.
I agree. They were good changes.
Did anybody want to? You go. Somebody tell me if they play a lot of Deadpool, they're excited more about Deadpool.
Well, I know that we burned 30% of our total time on Scott Summers, but
you can go fuck yourself. He got changed a whole bunch.
He did get changed a bit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, having a placement effect and having a potential to make 2 melee attacks is huge. I really hope this model sees play. I think he's really underrated in the current format anyway.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was
Healing Factor 2 models are just so fucking good.
I thought it was interesting that he was even on the list, being that the internet wasn't burning down with people freaking the fuck out about wanting a Deadpool to be the best model in the game.
Yeah.
Which is nice, meaning that, you know what, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing, so they changed him. Good job. Cool.
And he's such a fan favorite that, like, clearly they want. And he's like a nice, like, he was like a whole release, like Deadpool, like, X-Force. Like, they want to see him hit the table.
The taco truck was like, they made him a special release, and then he just kind of.
You could tell they really cared about Deadpool, and like nobody played him. It's like it was sad.
So Jean Grey. Jean Grey got a lot of quality of life stuff. She's new lease on life stuff. Psionic Bolt gained Pierce on a fail, so you have to fail, but it's now piercing on that. Telekinetic Force got its cost reduced from 6 down to 5. And Latent Psychic Potential, her passive, now gains her 2 extra, so she gains 3 at the beginning of every turn. So her what we always talked about is that she was given a really big tax for having the ability to gain an extra power every turn. So everything on her card cost a little too much. And so now everything on her card, a lot of things on her card cost less, and she gains an extra power. Her kit should operate a lot more smoothly now.
Yeah, it should. I don't think what X-Men wanted was a 5-pointer, but that she's clearly better than she was. Mm-hmm. I remember we had an entire episode where we just talked about how models that generate additional power are actively bad because the game design was not there yet, and I think it's definitely caught up. Models that generate extra power always paid the extra power tax, which actually meant they had less power than average models. Because if you get 1 extra power a turn, but then all your shit costs 1 more, you actually need 3 extra power a turn, and they didn't do that, so, yeah.
In the comics, she's an Omega level powerhouse. Like, she's supposed to be, whenever Sentinels attack, the first thing they have to fight, the first thing they have to kill is Jean Grey, because she can just show up and win games by herself. Win fights by herself in the comics. So I think this model reflects that a lot more closely.
Cool. Yep, she's way better now.
Where would you put her?
On the bed.
Where would you put her now? In X-Men only, or would you put her somewhere else?
I have no idea. I remember playing her in X-Men. I was very happy with her.
Mm-hmm.
My issue has been for a while that I feel like Cassandra Nova just is Jean but better, which I'm probably going to get hate for. But I feel like the things Cassandra Nova does directly lead to winning, and not much on Jean's card directly lead to winning. Like, the things she does contribute to, like, winning strategies. Mm-hmm. And so just because of that, her kit is cool. It has a lot of really thematic, fun stuff, but it's like, it's just a pile of stuff, right?
Sure, but, I mean, she can spend her top of 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as a play pattern, double move as your last activation turn 1, stand next to someone and be like, you're going to fucking die next turn.
Yeah, but I mean, I know that he's more expensive. Like Mal does the exact same thing. Like Mal can just double move and butcher swords.
Sure, for 2 extra threat, right? So
sure, no, I totally understand, but like that's not something I'm actively looking for. As someone who can do nothing and then do a spender.
Yeah,
right. Like
I agree with that.
It's a good spender.
And
totally agree.
She's squishy with no defensive tech and 3 physical, so that's probably a horrible play pattern. I'm just looking at her card and trying to decide what do I want to do with more power. I don't know.
Right, but like she has attacks that are reasonably above average, which is fine. But like she doesn't have action economy, so she's 5-pointer without action economy. She has a good throw. She has some control. She has some counter control. It's like, how is she actively better than MODOK?
I was actually going to compare her to Ebony Maw. I feel like she and Ebony Maw are similar, but actually Ebony Maw does a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think Ebony Maw has slightly better control. I think has the
longer
better throw, same power generation. Doesn't have mind shielding, but has way better defense.
Yeah, it's really all about shield mind.
Right? Yeah, well, it's shield mind is very good, but the problem is there's another shield mind in faction that's cheaper.
That is a true statement. I think I would probably at this point pay the extra threat for Jean Grey over Emma.
Jean is a better mind shield, 100%, especially nowadays. But you don't have to spend the extra point. Sometimes that makes a big difference.
Concur with that too.
Like Lizard's great, but Black Dwarf is not directly better just because he's slightly better, but costs more. But anyway, I think we all agree these are all good changes.
Our next model is Storm. So Storm got a couple different things going on. First off, her Hurricane, it went from 5 dice, is now 6 dice. Eye of the Storm, which is her damage buff, went from 3 down to 2, which makes her on par with Iron Man as having the best damage dice buff per power spent in the game, so she's tied. However, X-Men Gold is got a pretty substantial rework. So no longer is it free. If it is not holding an objective token, the character who is, I think it's the character that is doing the flipping spins 1.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So the character who is causing the hop to happen must spend 1. You place that character within one of the chosen character within 2 that you've chosen. So the hop is still the same, but it now costs 1. Additionally, she no longer gains cover to friendlies. Instead, if the enemy attacking a friendly is outside of 2, you get a reroll. So it works similar to cover in terms of range, but no longer an automatic deep block. It's now a reroll of your defense dice.
Yeah. Both are pretty relevant.
Yeah, very relevant.
I wish they had said that you can't place on top of dazed people, but they didn't. I
think changing it to a reroll, like we've all know that giving something a reroll versus cover is so insanely different. She used to be like a hard stop to any like rapid fire kind of models. You're just like, okay, just do -1 always to the thing you like to do, and your opponent just groans. That's no longer the case. For sure. Yeah,
it was way too strong into the vast majority of the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one was arguing that Storm's leadership is okay, right?
Right.
So,
do you ever? I know the initial reaction was, Cyclops buff, Storm nerf, and people were claiming dumpster fire, throw her away. Is she that bad?
No, God no.
Good.
She's very good.
I'm glad that you all think so.
I think they overcorrected the buffs yet again. Kind of like my opinion of Black Cat. The leadership is a noticeable hit. They will feel that difference a lot. The cover going to a reroll is a huge difference. It's like a third as good. And then the hop costing 1 is mostly only relevant for the first turn. But because they have first class, they can probably live through it. It's probably not the end of the world. But yeah, her combative power going up is concerning.
All in all, in a nutshell, I will give a thumbs up to this change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's better for the game. I agree.
I think a lot of people are going to immediately love the first time she's not doing automatic first turn shenanigans like she had before. Now you have to work a little bit for your first turn shenanigans, just a little bit, and I think that's
going
to be
the hop is the better of the two by far, and it's still going to be the defense is going to be the more shaky part.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be weird. It's a weird world. Everything isn't just free, and it's not a given. So how they play now and what the expectations are very strange.
What I'm really excited for now, actually, the thing I'm most excited for is building an X-Men list now. Because now I have to go, okay, do I do Storm and Cyclops? Is that interesting or important?
I feel like you're finally allowed to not follow the flowchart to victory.
Exactly. That's something that is really cool for X-Men specifically. So, because I think there's still a reason to play Storm. So you go, when do I play Storm? Is it that D scenario that Aaron mentioned before? How does that work? I think it's interesting. And like you said, no flowchart. We're finally here. For the very last mutant and the very last model that got reworked, Brandon, my favorite model that Jeremy I know just loves.
Did you say mine or just?
Yeah, you're mine.
That weird?
Yeah, you're my favorite model.
It's not my fucking favorite model.
I know you just gush over this model all the time.
What the fuck is the matter with you?
Honestly,
just said he was underrated.
That's the thing is that the reason why you and I have talked about him so much is how much Jeremy hates him because he plays him so much. It's
not my fault. Jeremy doesn't know how to play Logan.
The original Wolverine got reworked.
Yeah. I also remember Jeremy trying to play Doctor Strange, and both he and I would get tension headaches because he would just double move Strange to the middle of the table and ask why he died. And I'm like, Jeremy, you got to play him differently than you play fucking Hulk.
Yeah.
I like my Wolverine in a tuxedo T-shirt.
It's also when he played Sentinels, he's like, "Well, you clearly just tow Cables to She-Hulk, right?" I'm like, "Don't Cables to She-Hulk."
So Wolverine did get some really nice effects. The best what I do changed from a 3 power to a 2 power, which is huge.
It's pretty big.
It now allows him to do a move action and an attack action as opposed to only the adamantium slash. So if you have 5 power, you can do best at what I do and combine it with Berserker Barrage. Otherwise, it remains unchanged. Right. On his backside, he is also unchanged, but he went to 6 health, which is so much more different. It's such a break point for a lot of activations is to be a 6 health model as opposed to 5. So big difference.
I need to ask you guys a question. Do you realize how fucking crazy this guy is now?
Yeah. He is off the chain.
Injured Berserker Barrage, best at what I do. He can, if you're playing Thanos and Mordo with Wolverine, he's rolling potentially 18 attack dice with wilds counting this too. So many dice.
Okay, time out. He
one
superpower was reduced by 1, and he got 1 extra health.
No. Yeah,
this fundamentally did not change anything.
No, yes, because best at what I do made you make an adamantium slash attack.
Okay, yes.
So you're getting the 2 extra dice from that and the extra potential dice from Wild Rage. So it's 3 extra potential attack dice, which is pipe dream stuff, but the max has increased by a noticeable amount.
Okay, I will concur that this model is significantly better than they were. I don't think this is off the charts broken.
Best model in the game. Not even close.
Until you play him with the upcoming Steve 3, in which case, holy fuck.
Best at what I do, minimum 1 wild.
Yeah, Steve 3
it's a
sounds...
hit. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because Steve changes 2 wilds on hits, so yeah.
Steve 3 sounds good, but for my money, Steve 1. Because now I can best at what I do on turn 1 for a huge leg up. Because if Wolverine moves once, best at what I do, and rolls a single wild, man, you're going +2 power on turn 1. They're going -2 health because you're piercing and doing plus for the. All you need is 1 pierce on turn 1, and you get it for free because he's an Avenger and he's already good. So I am playing Wolverine with Cap. That might be the first thing I do is Cap 1 Wolverine because I just feel like it's
also
dumb.
Not counting now that it only costs 2. There's so many ways you can get him an extra power through fucking just the Cyclops leadership.
Yeah.
Also advanced R&D, also playing with Steve, like all these things. You're moving and charging on turn 1, and you might just start blowing people up.
All you need is one wild for him to just turn on so hard.
Yeah, just accidentally like chunk somebody, and then starting the next turn, it's like, even if you don't activate him first, like you don't have prio, it's so hard to down him because most people don't have ready access to quality energy and mystic attacks. They come into him, 4 defense dice, 7 health, healing factor 2. It's so hard to down him, and then he just turns around and kills you anyway and heals back to full, and you're like, oh my god.
While he's moving.
Guy.
While he's like placing and moving and
it's like you go into him, now he's got all this extra power, so he's gonna best at what I do and Berserker Barrage into somebody else, throwing them into you and killing you. It's like, oh my god, this fucking guy. Like you were talking about Cyclops' suspender.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't this better?
You mean Colossus suspender?
Yeah, sorry, I always say their names backwards. Colossus suspenders, 3/7/3, place before damage, and if damage is dealt, throw up to size 3.
No.
It's not better?
No.
Because they get stunned?
Wild Stagger on 7 dice.
But my Wild Count is 2.
I was going to say...
Okay, well, what you're combining... No. I just want to look at the...
But my Wild Count is 2.
I want to look at the attack, not the attack combined with Thanos plus Mordo plus other superpowers.
Alright. My Wild Count is 2.
When exceptional healing is live for Wolverine...
He's so hard to take down.
Oh my god. 7 health of the stat line. And
we talked about the new card that is like exceptional healing times 2.
Oh my god. This guy, I think people are going to dust him off now. I don't think... Are we? No, here's a little prediction. Do you think we are still the only ones who care about this guy and think he's strong? Or do you think other people are going to notice?
No, people are going to try him.
Yeah.
For sure. But he's such a fan favorite. I don't know why. Apparently because he says bub. But, I didn't know that there was like a hard line in the sand where you cannot not be cool, and it's if you say bub.
Jeremy, as our number 1 Wolverine comic fan, and you've tried so hard to love this guy, does this make you excited at all? I'm not trolling you, Jeremy, because I know you really love him, OG Wolverine from the comics, and this is OG Wolverine. Are you willing to play him again, or has he done you wrong too hard to ever think about it?
Most of the time, I look at the table as a bunch of blank chits with some rules written on it, and if it happens to be a model that looks like something that I really enjoy from comic books, that's a bonus. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll give him a run again, but he could be, he could fail me once or twice, and I'll trash him again. Yeah. I'll dumpster fucking anything.
Okay.
I it's an emotional roller coaster being me.
Well, we've been playing MCP this whole time. Jeremy's been playing checkers and had no idea that these models had faces.
Yeah.
I'm excited to put my Red Lantern Wolverine on the table.
In the long run, I doubt it will matter too much because he's directly competing with Logan at the 4-point slot, having the same alter ego. So I think you'll only see this one if you're like playing some combo with him. That's honestly the side
Are they
point.
both in Defenders?
No, he is.
Logan is only in Weapon X and
that could get interesting. Sure.
Yeah.
There are Logan's in 4
that's a
factions.
Good point.
Logan's in he was the first model in 4 factions, 4 affiliations.
You mean Wolverine?
Sorry, Wolverine, not.
Isn't this fun?
I forget his.
Thanks, Pagani.
Yeah, got
it. Yeah. So Wolverine and Defenders might be legit. Get it? Like you Berserker Barrage to throw somebody into one of their friends, and then place on the far side, getting like 3 people in range, and then you're like, here we go, and then you start re-rolling all your fucking dice.
Oh, when he does his big attack, that's the thing. He loves his big attacks. He loves fishing for those wilds. What if he gets to dive in and
2 or 3 re-rolls all the time? That could be really good.
Yeah, he could eat things.
Best at what I do, and you just like re-roll for the wilds.
It's
like everything that's not a wild is getting re-rolled. You're about to die, motherfucker.
Yeah. That's. Man, I am really excited for anything that Wolverine touches to die. Cool. Speaking of Defenders, this is a good segue. We did get an affiliation update. Daredevil was added as a leader, of course, so now he has a little star next to his name, and somebody else was added to Defenders.
Wait, hold on. I didn't know this.
Should we guess?
You really did not know this.
Oh,
I really didn't know this.
Oh my gosh. guess. Who do you think was added to Defenders? He's a character we already have in the game.
Oh, so it's a guy. All right. Character in the game. Fuck me. I'm actually blown away. Was the character that was updated in the Erratas?
No.
Wow, really?
I'll give you a hint in 10 seconds.
I'll give you a huge hint. I want to give him a comic book hint and see if he knows a comic book lore.
Okay.
Well, I don't know comic book lore, so that's not.
No,
help.
give him.
I think you might know this lore. I think you might know
choice.
this because you and I have talked about this.
Okay, all right.
RoboCop, Terminator.
All right, what's the hint?
The hint is, I think he was added because Daredevil's new leadership is called Marvel Knight. He is a Marvel Knight.
Oh, hold on. So I'm just going to start naming people that I think are Defenders. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Moon Knight.
He is already a Defender.
Okay. Fuck.
That's a short
Luke
list.
Luke Cage?
He's already a Defender.
Okay. Iron Fist.
Already a Defender.
Peter 1?
Already a Defender. All these are Marvel Knights characters, by the way. Yeah.
I'm done. I'm tapped.
Okay, I got one. This
right.
model had a second alias released in 2023.
I got another one for you. This model, because of this move, there's no longer an affiliation that used to exist.
Punisher?
The Punisher, yeah.
What?
The Punisher is now affiliated with Defenders. I think they did this because he is one of the most famous Marvel Knights characters. And so since Daredevil is now
Daredevil
Marvel
season
Knights,
2.
Yeah.
Punisher season 1.
So there is no longer an unaffiliation affiliation. It's just
no, that was a dead giveaway. I could not believe they added Punisher to an affiliation. Why didn't anybody tell me this?
Wow, honestly,
that's cool.
We literally just told you this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you waited many hours.
You heard it here very live, everybody.
Think of how I could have been excited this whole time.
One of Brandon's very favorite characters of the whole game is now Defender.
Dude, I played the shit out of Punisher when he first came out. Everybody's like, why are you still playing Punisher? I'm like, shut up. Blow your shit up.
Because if I stop, I'll lose.
So are you or are you not aware of the banned and restricted changes?
Oh boy.
There were actually... Hold on. Wait. Were there actually banned and restricted? Why didn't they tell me this?
We are not fucking with you. Are you ready? You know what? Let's go ahead and ask him. Infamous. Let's ask him. Brandon, I'll tell you this. This is the hint. Some cards were removed from the banned and restricted list and made no longer banned and restricted. Which cards do you think they were? The banned and restricted list is smaller than it used to be.
Both lists are smaller? A card was unbanned, or just a card was unrestricted?
Cards were unrestricted.
Oh no, this could be terrible.
Sacrifice, unrestricted.
Disarm.
Nope.
Disarm is still restricted.
Yes.
Oh no, now I'm really scared. If Advanced R&D was unrestricted, I will not be here next week.
It's still restricted.
Okay,
you're fine. You get to play.
No, it can't be Patch Up. Patch Up has to be restricted.
Very restricted, yep.
Indomitable.
Very restricted still.
Oh. Fuck, what else is even restricted? I'm very afraid. Very, very
That's why
afraid.
I said sacrifice.
I love this game.
Sacrifice? No.
Nope, still restricted.
Brace can't have been unrestricted.
Nope, still restricted.
Okay, what was restricted that I would just completely forgetting? God damn. Okay, the ones I was really worried about weren't, so...
Would you like to know the restricted list real fast? So you could...
No.
Did I just name it?
No, let me give you a hint. The list...
No.
He's
got it? Stone.
The stones, both.
Because they were only restricted for Thanos.
Yeah, well, they're restricted because of Thanos' power. And
Reality Stone being unrestricted is huge.
It's huge. Reality and space are now unrestricted, yes.
Wow. I think I actually agree with that change. Yeah, it came to me in a flash. I was like, wait a second, there's more than just tactics cards. Okay, wow, that's a big change. Yeah. I'm way more interested in playing Convocation now.
Hey, look at this, guys. It became a reveal podcast anyway. It became one.
I know, right? That's cool.
Live. You saw things live.
Yeah, wow. I was so scared. I was like, things have been unbanned or restricted. Like, Follow Me is back, and Advanced R&D is unrestricted. I just blow my brains out.
I think I'm really happy about this because anybody who wanted to play space or a reality gym outside of the Black Order, where you're planning on being restricted anyway, it was kind of choking and it felt kind of debilitating. It felt like you were getting penalized for wanting to play Corvus Glaive.
All it did was force you into the meta list,
yeah.
which was not fun.
Right, and so I like that they put it back out there. So now I can play Corvus Glaive with Storm X-Men, and I can play 2 power to activate, the wife and the husband and wife plus the Storm Hop if I really, really want to. So there are things now that you can do with outside the affiliation. Is anybody concerned that Thanos Guardians, for example, becomes a lot better if you get 2 restricted cards as well?
It's not.
2?
Nope.
It's not. That was the whole reason the list was good, is because you didn't miss the tactics cards.
That's what I thought. That was exactly my opinion. I was curious to see if you agreed.
The only way this could be bad and make Guardians better is if it allows the Thanos Cosmic Ghost Rider dual list, because the Cosmic Ghost Rider list isn't losing tactics cards. But I don't think it works that way because I don't think you have enough tactics cards. I don't think there's enough slots in the list. Because you have 5 completely different cards almost. Like, it'd be really hard. But I don't know. I haven't looked at it and thought about it. Personally, I would like to see them go back to you can mix and match your stones. But obviously that was too strong at the time. But I think now the game is wider and healthier. I think it's doable. I just think that makes the game more interesting. But it does make stone characters really strong. Anyway, we need to get going because we're vastly out of time.
Mm-hmm.
Anything anybody wants to say before we wrap up?
Is anyone scared of the new world? Because I'm just excited. Is anyone nervous?
No.
It's at the absolute most, there's a small sprinkling of things that were not objectively good changes. And they are little tiny like dust flakes in comparison to the good changes. So this is great.
We call them Wong.
Can we?
Okay.
I'll announce it now. Defenders were the big winners. Clearly, like I feel like they were.
You mean they became an affiliation?
Yeah, I feel like they were absolutely like we need to make Defenders not this kind of joke.
Okay,
they are.
We're gonna go around the table, and everyone's gonna say the thing that they changed to make Defenders better, and what was the best one in your opinion. Parker, go.
Daredevil as leader.
Jeremy.
Pass.
Aaron.
Wong at 3 physical.
Jeremy, would you like to unpass?
No, still pass.
Okay. Punisher being added to the affiliation. Obviously, you idiots.
Really close is Wolverine. Rework.
Wolverine.
Really close.
Fuck Wolverine. Punisher.
Yeah.
Frank Castle Master Race. Anyway, moving on. Thanks everybody for joining. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Next week we will cover the other things that are not immediately legal. And we'll talk about those. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy.
And Aaron.
And you just listened to The Gang Doesn't Know What to Do with Daredevil.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
We are back.
Oh, not just back. We're here. It just happened. Are we? Do you think we're first on the case? Do you think anybody else is willing to do this today?
I know that there were people
tonight.
live streaming reactions, but as far as like analytical content, I don't know.
Hold on. Did you just say analytical content?
I was like, holy shit! Wow.
Why do we need to start? Why do we need to start
the
deprecation now? I feel sure. I feel sure of our content here. This is
so
strong
that clearly
stuff.
wasn't meant to be an attack at anybody, but like, you know, live streaming reactions, like there's not really time in between each thing to like absorb and could discuss and stuff. So like it's more, in my opinion, I assume, I mean, I haven't absorbed any of the content, but I imagine it's more of a reaction as opposed to like thoughts on it.
Well, I think
obviously, if you put a lot of thought into it in advance, like we already know what we thought Black Cat needed. So,
I think Aaron's comment was less like to the disparagement of other casts and more to speaking to our credentials as not actually analytically interesting or important. I think that's what he was going for.
I live my life by a simple philosophy. It's analyze and annihilate.
Yeah. Wait, where have I heard that before?
That's, oh my god.
I've heard that before.
Log off right now.
That was a joke. I know precisely where that comes from. All right, how quickly can we kill this pig? I want to do it. Let's do it.
Pigs are not easy to kill or cook, by the way.
Yeah.
Only underground.
I've seen a pig eat a man. I've seen many pigs eat many men.
Yes.
How many pigs does it take to devour a whole person?
One.
Yeah, one.
It takes fucking one.
Yeah.
It takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they're dedicated. Pigs got nothing but time.
They're willing to put the work in. Yeah. They are persistent.
Mm.
Yeah. So you guys just want to jump straight into it while it's still fresh?
Yeah. I think we need to jump into it while the old folks are still conscious. We need.
Okay. Well, I mean, it should take the same amount of time.
Well, it's not the amount of time. It's the amount of time into the evening, I think.
Okay.
I'm good, man. I just got home. I'm fresh from a football game of watching my girlfriend's son lose for the 8, 9, 10, I don't know, 12 umpteenth time. They've yet to win in front of me. I would actually
out there.
I honestly, and I've told people this at the game, I'm like, this is an incredible exercise program for these young adults. Like, this is an extreme exercise program. That's all this can be.
Without spoiling too much, is it a school here in the city, or is it?
It's an Overland Park school.
Overland Park school. Okay. Yeah, I have a theory about Overland Park schools now that I've gotten into my own district, which is the Shawnee Mission schools. I've gotten to know some of their coaches at the high school level. I've been here long enough. I'm starting to run into them, and I have come to find out that these big schools, like these biggest schools you can get to in the big metropolitan areas, there's a huge, need to make sure that the best athletes get into certain schools together at the same time so that all of their talents can show, basically maximize it, which makes some sense, right? You can be the best center in the world, but if you don't get a lot of snaps because you're playing with a terrible defense or whatever it is, like if you never get to, pick up the ball because of some other part of the team that's really suffering, how could a talent scout for a major university ever see you play? How could you ever have stats if everybody else on your team is just random high schoolers, because it's all so random in public school. So there is a huge, subculture of making sure that you create these dynasty schools, these dynasty teams, even at the local level, like across the city. So there's just kind of this, I didn't know this, but there's this expectation that certain buildings in this metro area will just win every year. And the reason why, it's a perpetuating cycle. Parents manufacture, functionally their education to make sure they show up to these certain buildings with other members of their age group, and they all come up at the same time so that they can just raffle stomp season after season after season, so that these schools get the most attention and these players can get scholarships and to the university they want. I had no idea there was such a huge amount of attention paid to it. I assumed parents want their kids to succeed in sports, but I didn't know how kind of Machiavellian they got.
I didn't know that a team could lose all of their games. I didn't understand. Like, I was a part of a high school football team, and we lost a lot, but we did win some. Because there was, there's all different. You would play in your brackets. We would also play a team that only had 7 players. That's it. That's how it worked. Like, no, like I'm watching these teams that have 120 kids play against another team that only has like 75. It's ridiculous. And it is a Shawnee Mission school. Like you're very accurate. Like they're playing against teams that never lose.
Right.
It's craziness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they even build teams. Like if it was a team that always loses, like I would not want to be a part of a team that is always losing.
Well, coming from one of the coaches who is claiming this, from one of the teams who is always losing, basically you just kind of have to change your mindset, right? You just have to change your expectation set. You know, every win becomes like a championship win, right? Because everybody's so excited about it, and you have to understand that basically you're doing a program you're building a lot of the soft skills you get with teamwork. You're building a lot of, like you're saying, athletics. You're building a lot of, physicality and physical fitness. You're focusing on those things, those kind of like passive benefits, and those tangible benefits of I'm going to become a football star are just not something you're grooming any of your players for. You're not excited. That's not part of your program functionally. After a certain point, you just kind of have to decide. You're like, well, that's not what this program is, unless you want to, try to remake the program, which can be done, but it takes a huge amount of community support. Like you have to have from the top down, you have to have everybody gunning for that top spot. It does happen, but it's rare because you have to get, it's not just you yourself, the coach, or the 4 coaches you have as assistants. It's, you got to get everybody from elementary school people all the way to the central office. Everybody's got to be in for this because it's going to be millions of dollars and many years before you can build a dynasty.
You have to hire the geneticists.
I just feel bad for him.
What was that, Aaron?
Nothing.
He's making fun of how much people care about football, I think.
Football is just one example, but it's every sport. It's softball, baseball, golf. It doesn't matter. All of these sports have analogous, programs. There's not one of them that's not doing that. You have to get into like the academia stuff, like performances and forensics and debate. Those are less dynasty-like. They just don't get the same amount of attention.
I've just never seen such a thing. It's just the weirdest thing. I think it's interesting that you're a part of the Shawnee Mission thing and like you've heard of this and kind of know it exists because it blew my fucking mind. Like I'm watching these kids get blown out and no shit, it's like 60-0.
Yep.
I'm like, how is this fucking okay?
Yeah.
Like, what does this teach a
parents
kid?
Will, like at the high school level, I'm pretty sure they will like pay the cost to send their kids to a different school.
Yes.
If like all they want to do is football. Like if the kid's actually trying to get to a professional level of sports, you are gonna pay the amount of money that it costs to cross the boundary line to go to a better school. Like in my school district, our school was the second best in our group. But the first best school in our group, like my school won all but 2 games a year. It was the 2 games we played against the North school, which hadn't lost a game in like 8 years. And they generally just blow people out every week. So,
and one of the things that's kind of sad is that for the layperson or the student or the community member that doesn't understand this subculture that drives this dynasty effort that's created, this the kind of self-perpetuating machine, it just they're so low pride, right? Like students like, I don't want to go to a game, we fucking suck, everybody sucks here. You're like, no, you don't suck. As it turns out, somebody 20 years ago decided that Northwest was going to be the dynasty team where everybody in this district is going to be funneled into university play. It happened because maybe one guy or 2 guys or that building, the administrators, whatever it was, decided that was going to be important. And so that's what they did. And because everybody funnels there, it's perpetual, they perpetually win, which means they get more attention, which means more people potentially go there, so they can potentially win. And because that happens, yes, everybody else, gets flack and everybody else gets mad, and parents yell at coaches because they don't win a single game of the season, and they have no idea. It has nothing to do with the coaches or players. It has everything to do with the system around them. But and so that when you talk about like feel bad for, that's what I feel bad for, is the players of the team. They get ribbed by everybody in the community for sucking, and the coaches that constantly have to take it on the chin just over and over and over again for the losses, and there's nothing they can really do to undo this system. Instead, like I said, these guys that do this, these men that coach and are willing to stick out in this, are just really into it for making the kids have a great senior year or a great junior year. And it's like, if we get kids involved in sports, it's a really good chance they keep doing things in school. We're going to, focus on making sure they're student athletes, and we're just going to try to do the very best we can for them, knowing that we can't win a game.
Yeah. All right, Aaron, how many more do you have to sleeve?
10.
10? You're doing a good job over there.
Thanks.
Yeah, last time, when this happened last...
You're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, when this happened last, I was like, I'll just print these off real fast and put them in a sleeve. And like an hour and a half later, I was still dicking with that shit. And I was like, God damn, why is this taking so long?
Seems like that's an excessive amount of time. I don't think it took me that long.
I'm being facetious, but I thought it would be a 10-minute job, and it was like nearly half an hour of cutting and printing and making. And I also was being pretty particular about it. I probably could have done more slapdash and it would go faster.
No, I'm super particular about stuff like that. Like, all my lines have to be perfectly straight and exactly what it's supposed to be. All the cards have to be the same size.
Yeah.
Takes me 0 minutes when I do it on a podcast.
Yeah. A friend of mine wanted me to play Magic with them, so I printed out a proxy commander deck all the way down to the basic lands. And I sleeve it up. And we start playing, and he's like, I thought you were going to print out proxies. Like, I did. And he's like, what do you mean? And he has to examine my cards to tell that they're not real. Because they're so perfectly printed and cut. And he's like, oh shit. It's like I even rounded all of the corners of the paper so they match the card underneath them, and I glue stick them to the cards so they would keep center. And then I perfect fitted them so that they would stay tight. And it's like, you literally couldn't tell.
Did they have Post Malone on them?
No, I didn't have random squiggles drawn on them.
You son of a bitch.
I know. All right, so are you guys ready, or do you want to talk about badminton now?
No, we're good.
Okay.
You wanted a pre-ramble. We delivered. Now we're good.
That's not what I said at all.
I accidentally brought up an academic topic.
I know.
I'm sorry.
So Parker talked for 10 minutes.
My favorite thing is how there's odd and different trees in the area. Parker, go.
I know what you're doing. And I'm not going to.
You didn't get it the first time.
Not by this time. Not
okay.
This time.
All right. Here we go.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to play defenders.
Pretty sure that's just me.
Yeah.
I know, but you're part of the gang.
Oh.
Or it's like one of those everyone press the button on the wall, and if we all press it at the same time, we get to get out. It's like we all press the button, and Aaron's like, so we press the button now? I'm like, God damn it. So I have something I have realized about myself and the world that makes me not happy, and I'd like to share that with you guys, if that's okay.
Do it.
I'm not going to say where I read these statements, but I read some statements regarding the changes that were released today, mainly the erratas, and some people were not happy with them because they said they ruined the meta. In different words, I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, my response mentally, I went to start typing and just say, you ignorant fuck. Because they were directly referring to Voodoo and Black Cat. And I'm just like, in the moment of clarity, it hit me. The reason this person plays this game is to abuse mechanics or get wins. And the way you get there matters not at all to this person. And I realized that that's a lot in the same way that some competitive Magic players are. Just because you spent the most money on the most expensive cards in the format doesn't make you good despite your win record. But that doesn't mean that those players aren't also good, but they're generally, a lot of them tend to get by on the power of the components they're playing with. And they enjoy that feeling. They enjoy feeling more powerful than other people in games. It's kind of like people that play against easy mode on RTSs and stuff. There's a time and place for that, but not in a player versus player environment, one player should not be noticeably advantaged. And it's just like, what the fuck is, like, I don't get that at all. And so I just realized I approached the game from a different place than these other people do. And I didn't realize that there were people that play this game for that reason. I guess it just never occurred to me.
It's interesting that you went there, because my first thought was, this is a person who can't stand a healthy meta, because a healthy meta is one that is constantly spinning. It's constantly moving. If you, as a designer of any system, as soon as you see your meta stop, then you immediately have to do something, because
they went on to say, they went on to say something along the lines of, well, like, they just totally ruined my list. I was like, well, yeah, if every model in your list just got errated, you've been winning games you should not have been winning. Learn, I'm not going to say get good, because that's obviously derogatory, but, like, you should not be leaning that hard on powerful models. Now, obviously, they could be playing as people who are doing the exact same thing, but
well, it's also that you should have an expectation that you can't do the same thing you always do and win. That's not something you should do. And if the game ever achieves that point, then it's up to the developers to make sure that's not happening anymore.
If you've reached a point where you can't change your list to make it better, or play anything that's better than that, and you're still succeeding despite people trying to stop you, that's a problem.
Right.
Oh, wait, I meant to say that's Sam Avengers, but I think I said something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I just wanted a random thought point I had today after reading the internet, which was clearly a mistake. I always tell people don't read the internet. I made that mistake.
That was exactly the meme of the... Someone says that Friends is better than The Office, and then it shows the guy stretching, and then it shows caps lock key on.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but, like, I understand the meme. Aaron is now dying. Just for clarity, I would like to eventually start including things other than movies in our movie poll. There's just still movies to go, so I'd like to go into, like, TV shows and stuff at one point.
I was like, don't say, like, favorite dogs.
No.
I'm like, God damn it.
But, like, perfect things, like, we could do sitcoms, like your list of, top 3 sitcoms.
Sure, as long as it's like that media. I was like, are we going to talk about foods? Jesus Christ.
No. Hot dogs. Favorite hot dogs. Go, and you're like, hot dogs? Like, hot dogs.
Favorite brunettes.
Yeah. That I feel like we should not do that. As fun as that would be in a private setting, that is definitely not.
Better hope I don't win this week.
Ooh, boy. I'm not worried about you winning any of these anymore, Aaron. You clearly ran out of money to bribe the voters with your fucking Blood of Heroes picks. Honestly, it's getting kind of boring winning. I hate coming up with topics every week. I actually do want to stop winning. It's actually kind of annoying.
So do you want to announce the topic this week? So
we're going to choose Samuel L. Jackson movies. For hard clarification, it must be a movie, not like a short. And it simply has to include Samuel L. Jackson in the cast credits. I don't care other than that. You can pick a movie that he was a random extra in his young career just because you like the movie, but he happened to be in it. I don't really care. He doesn't need to be the star.
So when I told my wife, who follows this segment really religiously, when I told her what it was going to be this week, she immediately went, "Oh man, that's hard." And I went, "Oh, you obviously don't know Samuel L. Jackson."
Yeah. Let me introduce you to these 87 movies he's been in this last 5 years.
I was going to say, there you go. I was going to say the total is 208.
Yeah, no, I was sitting here thinking, because originally I was going to go Nicolas Cage, because it's a fun topic. I'm going to do that with my next one. But for the first actor movie, I wanted there to be a deep pool. Like a deep pool. And so I was like, all right, we're going to make sure that there's no one. Because honestly, I was worried that with short notice, Aaron might not have seen that many movies with Krister, or pick a random actor. But I was like, Samuel L. Jackson, I know he's seen Samuel L. Jackson movies.
Also, he has a really interesting collection of like blockbusters and just like very small time independent films. Like he's got a very wide range.
Shout out to one of our patrons. I want to say it was Waylon. He sent me a message that I really liked. and I almost tried it. It just, I don't think we're there yet. I would like to move to that in the future once we've gotten through a lot of the basic stuff. But he said we do like an actor, a director, and something else, and we do one movie from each category. Something like that. So like one could be like a movie with Samuel L. Jackson, a movie with Christopher Walken, and then do like a Christopher Nolan movie or something. Like something along those lines. But that way we're breaking it up so it's not all three from the same thing, so we can do smaller categories. But I like that suggestion, and we'll probably take some form of that in the future. But anyway, going here. Let's see. I think I would like to go first, if that's all right.
No.
Does somebody want to go first?
I don't care.
Okay. I have a long list here, and so I'm going to go with a strong movie first. I'm going to do my personal favorites after that. So I'm going to go with Pulp Fiction first.
Curses.
I imagined that was going to be a point of contention. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a one that I actually have a hard time deciding which one's stronger, Pulp Fiction or this one, Django Unchained.
Yeah, that was on my list.
I love Django so much. I actually like Django for Christoph Waltz. I love his character in that one. Dr.
Obviously, any of the Tarantinos always have great supporting characters. So yeah. Great dialogue as well. Jeremy, I guess we're gonna.
I'll let Aaron go. I don't want to take
okay.
any of his. I don't want to take his top pick. So
yeah, we wouldn't want him to just like not get like obvious first dibs, right? We wouldn't want him to like have to go after everybody else goes. For people not in our Discord channel, I feel bad for you because Aaron went on a huge rant last week. Or this week, over not getting to pick in the order he wanted. Apparently, he thinks when he doesn't even bother to show up, he should get first pick.
I did not say first pick, or second pick, or third pick. You fucking asshole.
Yeah, you get last pick. Mm-hmm. He gets the filthy fourths. That's what he gets.
We are going to, with the third pick, take Jurassic Park.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. I didn't even put that on my list because I was like, Jeremy will fucking take that.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah. All right, and that's going to take us to Jeremy. Jeremy, you're going to get back-to-backs here.
We'll go with Unbreakable.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. Glass?
No.
I expected it.
It was just Glass.
I could pick any of
Glass.
Tarantino's, and you grab one of them. I'm going with Hateful Eight.
That's strong.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that takes us back to Aaron.
Okay, The Negotiator.
Oh, that was on my list.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty high up on my list, honestly. I love that movie. It's so good.
It is.
And Parker, second pick.
I'm going to go with what he actually reports as his favorite movie, and it's mine too, Long Kiss Goodnight. I love The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Wow, I didn't think anyone was going to have that. I had that on my list.
It was on mine, but hopefully so far down I wasn't going to get to it because Gina Davis as an action star is a little bit to be desired. I mean,
that was exactly where I had it. It was like number 8, but I know that we're going to be hitting the same.
It was a big part of my childhood. My dad loved that film, and so
yeah, I watched it at least a dozen times as an 8-year-old, which is probably not healthy.
And by the way, it is true that when he's asked what is his favorite movie because he's done so many, he actually loves it, and he said it's because of working with Gina Davis. He said he really enjoyed it. He said it was his favorite co-star he's ever had.
Mm-hmm. All right, closing it out here for me. I'm definitely going with Kingsman: The Secret Service for my next one. But it's going to be tight on the next one. We've named both of these. Well, someone's named both these movies before, but I haven't named it yet. So I'm going with The Incredibles.
Yup.
That was number 3 on my remaining.
Yep. Parker, you are up.
I'm so glad nobody picked this. I think somebody said this one once, but I'm not sure. Die Hard with a Vengeance.
That was the other one I was thinking about.
That was number one on my remaining list.
That scene in the park where they're trying to beat the puzzle with the gallons of water, the jugs.
Yeah. It's like slaps it out of his hand.
For some reason, that scene is so amazing. I've never understood why that scene is so amazing, but it's great.
They're arguing about how to pour water in a cup.
Yeah, it's just like doing a mental puzzle in an action movie sounds just like the most boring shit you can imagine, but it's great. Yeah. It's fantastic.
All right, Aaron, final pick.
Okay, Patriot games.
Patriot games. Alrighty, and closing us out, Jeremy, that's you.
Oh.
Still looking? You can take a moment.
I'm trying to think of the name of the movie. I think it was 187.
The Taking of 187?
No, I believe it was 187. He was a teacher, and he was killing students.
Oh.
Bad. Let me look then to make sure that's the...
I'll check for you as well.
Yeah, he's right.
Just 187?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Imagine that's like the school district number or something.
It's... Sure.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, I didn't even hear about that. So.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. I was going to pick one that everybody's heard of and stuff, but I actually like that one.
Yeah. I also thought about doing an MCU movie, but I decided against it. I tend to pick a lot of MCU movies when they're valid, so...
I would have picked The Winter Soldier, but I already said exactly The Winter Soldier once, so...
I just would have went all Tarantino, and it just would have been blah.
So I looked at IMDb earlier. I don't remember him in Kill Bill 2. Is he, like, in disguise or something?
I don't remember. I mean, he might have even just been a voice talking to somebody. I mean, who knows?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
He was the narrator in Inglourious Bastards for a couple scenes.
Yeah.
I remember that.
No one likes Coming to America, huh?
Nope.
Yeah, he was an extra in that.
He was an extra in that. I didn't know that.
Black Snake Moan was really, really good.
Yeah, Black Snake Moan is fucking crazy. I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips. The movies I wanted to name, but I did not imagine we would get to, is SWAT and Formula 51.
Oh, SWAT! I love SWAT.
SWAT's great.
It also introduced me to Jeremy Renner. That was the first Jeremy Renner movie I remember watching.
Oh, yeah. He was in A Time to Kill. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
That's a Brad Pitt movie, right?
No.
Yes. I thought the Brad Pitt. Is that right?
Oh, is Brad Pitt the other lawyer?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No.
Am I thinking of a different movie?
It's not Brad Pitt. Time to Kill has
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. Yeah.
I'm thinking
it's
of
sweaty. The whole movie's sweaty.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah, I must be thinking of a different movie.
A really terrible B movie that I liked as a teenager was Jumper. You guys ever see Jumper?
I haven't seen it. I always meant to see it. It looks like a movie I'd really enjoy.
Doesn't that have Anakin in it?
Yeah. Hayden Christensen is his name?
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen.
He has about the emotional range you'd imagine he has, always. But
I think he's gotten better as an actor over the last 28 years. Is anybody else watching Ahsoka?
I have not yet.
So, without spoilers, he's in it. So, flashbacks and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did not like him in Obi-Wan very much. It was fine, but I don't know. It felt weird because he looked so old. Like, he's aged 100 years.
Well, it's been a long time
Ewan
since he was in
McGregor.
the Star Wars movies.
Ewan McGregor looks like the fucking same.
Well, I think that's
to be
probably
fair,
true.
he has a beard. So.
Right. Also, like, aging, like, the difference between a 22-year-old and a 42-year-old is so much more intense than a 42 and a 50. Like, it's, I think, anyway.
Yeah, it looks like Ewan McGregor hasn't aged at all, and it looks like Hayden Christensen has been, like, he looks rough. But actually, in Ahsoka, he doesn't look nearly as bad. I don't know if they did some, like, CGI work or something, or just better makeup, maybe. Or maybe it was just exacerbated by, like, the Vader makeup in Obi-Wan, where he's, like, really pale and stuff, and just made it look worse. I don't know. But yeah, him in Ahsoka has felt much more natural and makes more sense than Obi-Wan, in my opinion. Cool.
When is Dune supposed to come out? I think that's the only thing that's important.
The TV show Dune, or like Dune 2?
Dune 2. I guess I have the internet.
March 15th, 2024. Next spring.
Oh my god, that's when I get all my vacation days back. That's exactly
You
my
gotta
hire
take
date.
them to watch a movie.
I'm probably taking them to find a new job. Honestly.
But you speak so highly of it, and you constantly come back from it refreshed in body and soul.
All right, so I don't know if you know this is a thing, Jeremy, but there's a thing called Tic Tacs, and it's like basically a bunch of people making short videos, and there's a lot of people that just go in there and make fun of their job and get really famous, and they get to quit their job.
Oh, well.
But yeah. Anyway, I feel good about this. I think we did a good job. Is everyone excited to go to the store tomorrow and play with the new models?
Oh, my brain. It's gonna melt. Too much.
Is this just like a impromptu thing you guys did? I saw it on Discord. What's going on?
Originally, Aaron wanted to go to Iowa for Saturday and Sunday to play games. I can't be gone for both days. And then there was the idea floated that we could go to Springfield because they're having a tournament. And that's about the same drive for me. It's a little bit faster for them, obviously, because it's the opposite direction. And then I think a lot of their people had to bail out, so it's only going to be like 2 of their people. So instead of like 6 of us driving there, it was just going to be, we were just going to play here with 4 people instead of 6 people. And then Aaron England is going to randomly be in town, and so we were going to play with him as well.
So you guys are just playing around, or are you actually trying to run an event?
Do whatever.
No, we're just
going to play.
Yeah.
Grind some games, because teammate's going to actually be in town, and it sounds like if Jeremy's going to be there, I imagine all 5 of us are going to be there.
Perrin will not.
Oh.
He's got weird shit. So I could either bring him and then we both have to leave at 5, or I could not bring him and stay till whenever.
Does he have to do like stuff in town, or is it Warrensburg stuff?
Warrensburg stuff. He has to go to an event.
Gross.
Yeah.
Can't he drive yet?
Technically.
Alrighty, cool.
There's an outside chance I could come. It's very outside, but it's possible.
I'll be sure to bring the matchup cards so we can do some matchups over there.
You should bring all of your models.
Aaron hates matchups, by the way.
I don't hate matchups.
Ugh.
Cool.
But we do need to figure out what we're going to play, and that's probably best achieved by just fucking pulling them out of a hat at this point.
I was terrified that the Evolving Crisis meant there's going to be new Crisis cards. I'm way happier we got this than new Crisis cards.
Well, sure, you with the webs who got the lightest of touches.
Oh, no, sure. No, the nerfs are very relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, I was playing Black Cat. Black Cat was the second biggest nerf, arguably.
Sure, that is the lightest of touches, though. I would say she is not integral to that list.
I mean, I'll tell you what now, I'm not going to fight you that hard for Voodoo anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually just willing to let you have him.
I'm not even sure I want him.
Aww.
Well, in that case, I'll take it.
Hold on.
See
I
how quickly that backfired?
said I'm not sure.
Backfired.
This is a trap.
I think we need to focus on Hulk more. I think...
Well, you're going to try and take my Hulk now?
Yep. I think Inhumans deserves consideration, and I think...
Defender. I'm playing Defenders. I'm not playing Webs.
Okay.
I'm allowed to play my boy Frank? Nobody told me.
Do we play
Nobody told me.
There's so many questions.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, just fucking play what we want to.
Yeah, X-Men goes completely back to... For people that don't understand, we're talking about our WTC list. X-Men goes completely back to the drawing board. Guardians almost goes back to the drawing board. Just because they have so many options now.
Does Jeremy still want to play Mal? I mean, that's a big deal. Do we swap to Suns?
I was actually thinking possibly Suns.
Suns seems really good right now.
Suns is going to be really good, and it'll be an easy...
So my biggest problem with the updates is they didn't address
Hulk
2.
Yeah.
I felt like Patch-Up needed to get banned, or they needed to address him, and they didn't. So I think Hulk 2 is currently the strongest model in the entire game. And I don't even think it's really that close. Admittedly, that's mainly in Suns, but most models are only really strong in one faction.
I think Wakanda, Shield. I mean, there's so many options that are A- tier or above that would be totally viable. So, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of talk tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm very excited now to talk to the other team captains. And have that discussion because now we know what's legal and what's not legal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hopefully you had a good time. I will try not to die while I edit and post this in the next 3 hours. This has been Brandon. We don't do that again, right?
Bye.
I'm a little tired.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Good night, everyone. Goodbye.
Night.